W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
Weirdest thing happened this morning, and really the weirdest thing. Very rarely, Kevin, do I call you on the way in to work, but I had a question for you on the way this morning, of course, and then you answered, and I couldn't hear anything. I thought something was wrong with my phone, and I was saying, like, hey, man, like, do we have a bad connection? And then you said, Myra is surrounding me with the sound of silence. That you were sleepwalking and then awakened.
First off, if you would have called me, I probably would have driven off the road. I would have been like, holy hell, what's wrong? Jake, Jason. I would have called you by your real name almost. Getting ready to go to bed last night, and I see a video Jim Irsay tweet pop up, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this will be my entertainment right before bedtime, and show my wife, and her exact response was, what in the insert dump button here?
Well, a couple of questions that I had.
By the way, the sound quality in the background of the Irsay videos are always not very quiet. It's kind of a loud plane in the background.
It's interesting, like all planes, I don't know if it's just with planes, if it's the cabin pressure sound. You know, you always have that shh, and you can hear it, like.
Great air quality, airflow maybe.
I mean, it looks like he's in the living room at Meridian Hills.
Yeah.
But it's the inside of his plane, I guess.
Yeah, Air Force One.
For those that are unfamiliar, last night Jim Irsay sent out a tweet. I think we have the audio of it. Do we have that audio, Mark?
It'll put you to sleep.
Now, who is Myra? An assistant of some sort?
I assume Myra was the flight attendant. Would that be the proper term?
Yeah, unless I thought maybe she was like an assistant for him personally. But so he's on the plane and he's sitting in this beautiful leather recliner on the plane.
I don't know a Myra.
And he says Myra has, we'll play the audio.
I've got it ready whenever you want to hear
it. Okay, well, so this is on the plane last night. Now, I have a really big question that's not the obvious question from this. And good morning to you, by the way. My name is Jake Query, Kevin Bowen, the other voice you heard, Mark Dykton. Running the board for us here on Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. This was last night. What time was this, Kevin? Like 9, 10?
Yeah, I would say 10. We were getting ready to go upstairs and go to bed.
So this was posted onto Twitter last night from Jim Irsay. This, again, the setting is Jim Irsay seated on his private plane and then...
Suited up.
Wearing his... Does he just have the one sport coat? The light blue sport coat?
I'm going to guess he's got a couple of the same ones.
He's becoming a sunglasses indoors guy, too.
He is also wearing sunglasses on the plane, and this is what happens.
Myra is giving me some special mojo for this journey, surrounding me with the special spirits of sound.
She's circling around him right now.
Awaken and open your eyes. Don't live your life sleepwalking. Peace.
So you couldn't totally hear all of that, but awaken, open your eyes, don't live your life sleepwalking, peace. And she walked around him with, simulating like she was spraying him with like a fairy dust or something.
She kind of looked like, what the hell am I doing?
You think she did?
That was the vibe I got from Myra. I don't want to put words into Myra's mouth, but that's how her body language looked to me.
Do you want to know my biggest question with that? My biggest question was, where's he going?
Oh, he's a traveling man. He's putting on these concerts all around the U.S. Beverly Hills is not a popular Irsay spot. I think he made a brief stop at the Phoenician earlier this year. He's been active, I think, going around the U.S. and looking to see where he's going to open up like a guitar museum, for lack of a better term, something like that.
Well, the Jim Irsay collection is his collection of pop culture things. Probably easiest way to say it, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And his latest is he is trying to acquire the guitar from "Smells Like Teen Spirit" from Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't know. Kevin, I'll say the elephant in the room here. I don't think it's the case there. I don't. I really don't. But I saw the reaction. Jim Irsay is such, just based on his history, that when things like that he posts, I think he's just having fun there, quite frankly. And he's an eccentric guy. But there are people that immediately worry about the health of Jim Irsay when things like that go out. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, it's the immediate social media reaction. I'd say reaction in general, like you said, given the history and whatnot. But yeah, I'd probably chalk it up similar to your line of thinking there. I don't know. I don't know where he'd be going. I would think he would want to be back in town later this weekend. Rookie minicamp. Usually he likes to talk to the rookies all in person during that rookie minicamp. So
there's my rookies.
That would be on his agenda. Friday, Saturday, and I think a little bit on Sunday for the rookies this weekend. One thing I thought would be fun to do today, NFL schedule comes out tomorrow. We know where the games will be for the Colts. We just don't know when, what network.
They're playing the Chiefs in week 3.
Dates. Yeah, I think that's one of the rumored leaks.
Leaked, right?
Yeah, I've also seen the Chargers leaked for week 3, so you can't play both of them. That'd be very tough to play the Chiefs and Chargers.
Split squad.
Albeit, yeah, in the little jamboree over at Lucas Oil Stadium. How about this? Let's rank the 9 away games based off where you would want to travel to see the Colts play, and you factor in the opponent, the city, the stadium,
okay,
and I guess potentially Mother Nature, which is probably a little harder to do because
are we factoring in this is not to be like buzzkill Jake here. Are we factoring in cost of travel?
Let's not go there.
Okay.
Let's say we got money. Let's say we got Irsay money.
Okay. So
Myra has given you one wish.
Do I get? Let me ask you.
That is a genie.
Can we invest in a boom mic first?
I almost think we need the noise canceling background noise.
I mean, can he just borrow from the With the Next Pick squad and be like, hey, can I borrow some of your technology? I'm going to post this Twitter video.
Don't we have the company Lencore? Can the Lencore kind of quiet out some of that background noise there on the Irsay Air Force One there?
Can we invest in a boom mic, he asks. That's actually a fair question.
9 games, 9 road games for the Colts. The AFC West, those venues include Denver, Vegas. You've got the NFC East. Those road venues will be at the Giants and a trip to Jerry's World.
This is the easiest game ever.
You're at the Vikings.
Of course, we don't know what time of year, right?
So you gotta factor that in a little bit.
Huge factor there.
A trip to the Evil Empire.
Would that be New England?
Well, see, I think that's a big clarification. Foxborough. I think that would impact some things. And then, obviously, the AFC South. Road trips. I know a lot of people are like, oh, my God, the schedule release. Who cares about it? If you, are a season ticket holder, or just a fan that have a lot of, investment into.
I think there are people that like to go to one game a year.
Building your schedule around 3 to 4 hours. I think the NFL schedule release is a big deal. And again, I know I'm in the 1 or 2 percentile of a lot of that really matters for me. Like last year, I had a wedding in Mexico last October, and I'm thinking, man, that'd be great if the Colts bye week ended up that weekend. I think if you've got a wedding in the fall, if you've got birth of a child, something like that, I think you've got a lot of.
I think if you're scheduling your wedding or your birth of the child around the Colts schedule, you either have the most accommodating significant other.
No, Jake. I'm saying if you have a wedding on the schedule, you're curious to know if the Colts are playing.
I see what you're saying.
Can you time that up? We mentioned it earlier. If you're an IU basketball fan, IU plays in Vegas early December. Will the Colts be in Vegas that same weekend?
I think
ranking didn't take as long as I thought it would. That was actually pretty easy.
Well, hold on to your answers, Mark.
No.
But I agree with you. But it's easier to pick the games that you would least want to go to.
Yeah.
It's pretty top heavy, right? I mean, there are some pretty cool. Now, to your point, Kevin, when I worked for Channel 6 and traveled with the Colts, I didn't worry so much about the order in which they were playing, but I always wanted to know where they were going. Like, oh man, this year I'm going to be on the road with them, and they're going to, like, I got to go to Seattle. I love Seattle. So I was always curious. Here's a better question. If you were traveling with a team in the NFL, what division would be the worst, like the biggest buzzkill? If it was like, okay, you're going to every road game within, and it's going to be against this division, which division is the one where you'd be like,
Yeah, probably like the AFC North.
Yeah, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Yeah, I would go NFC North. I mean, Minnesota's cool.
I think Lambeau's cool.
Lambeau is cool. I mean, the venue.
Yeah, but if you do it one time, you're
correct.
Probably,
I've been to Lambeau, right? So it's like, okay. Although Green Bay, the town, is kind of neat, but Minnesota, again, great city. But if you go there in January, right?
I would say other fan bases would probably say AFC South, quite honestly.
And a lot of it,
Jacksonville, Houston.
Yeah.
A lot of it depends
Nashville,
on like where you're
Indy.
located in the country, from a travel standpoint. How much time are you spending?
Or what's like the most, you know what I mean? If you live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, probably coming to like the AFC, it's like, I've never been to Jacksonville. I've never been to Indianapolis. I mean, it would be kind of cool, but yeah.
So again, the schedule released tomorrow night, but we'll go over that. And I think some other things that the Colts will be looking for schedule-related, because as much as they want to say it's one game at a time, we know how this team has struggled out of the gate, and they will certainly have their eyes very early into that September stretch, especially the new quarterback, new defensive coordinator, things like that. You guys see we got a no-hitter late last night?
Yeah, and not only a no-no for what are they going by now? Are they the Los Angeles Angels, the Anaheim Angels, the California Angels, or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles?
I think just Anaheim, right?
I forget. I mean, they've changed it 240 times, right?
I know they're the Angels.
They are that.
Good for this dude, Reid Detmers. I'm always curious in these no-hitters, and we saw it earlier in the year with Clayton Kershaw. Granted, that was a perfect game. Usually, they're kind of low-scoring games because anytime you have a long inning of runs on your end, that gives, the managerial staff reasons to be like, let's pull him. That half inning took a half hour. We need to take him out. We need to worry about his arm, things like that. The Angels put up 12 runs last night, including 4 in the 8th inning. So think about that. He's probably thinking to himself, can we stop scoring?
Right.
It's already 8-0. You had Mike Trout hit a home run off of some position player for the Rays.
Well, the Rays the Angels also had, I think it was Anthony Rendon that came up left-handed.
Yeah, he doesn't usually bat left-handed.
And he hit a home run.
Hit a homer, right.
So, I was watching it, I'm like, wait a minute, this dude's like throwing batting practice. So clearly the Rays resorted to not throwing pitchers out there, right?
Right, which I think would frustrate me even more if I was Detmers. I'd be like, dude, guys, just ground out. Let me get back out there. But good for the Angels for sticking with him, because my rule. If you've got a no-hitter, perfect game, you cannot come out of the game.
I totally agree with that. And that goes back to the question that I've asked before, one of my favorite questions, which is, if you were at a game of your team, how deep into a no-hitter do they have to be for you to switch your allegiances?
Oh, I think it's about only 4 or 5 innings. Especially if you're the 6-24 Reds.
No, you and I on this one are 100% in agreement. I can't I think personally, Kevin, people are lying. Either that or they are just flat out morons if they say, and I mean, I get it. It's game 7 of the ALCS. I get it. I'm talking about you go to a businessman special on a Tuesday for a 1 o'clock start in May to see your team play, and the pitcher for the other side has a perfect game going. At some point, I'm not saying you're rooting against your team, But at some point, you have to have, do you not, by human nature alone, rooting. It's not that you're rooting against your team as much as you're rooting to see something that's only happened like 22 times in the history of Major League Baseball, to say that you were there, right?
Yeah, the memory of, they hit that 2-run double in the 8th inning and they won 5-3, or the memory of the dude had a no-no. A little bit different.
That's exactly right. I mean, honestly.
On the scale.
So how far into it? I would say that you are totally excused if you are at minimum entering the 7th, but certainly if he's through 7.
Well, I think a lot depends on the score.
I get that.
If it's 1 or 2-0,
right.
it probably is a little different.
Yeah, in this game,
the Angels jumped all over him.
If you're a Rays fan and you went to that game, and I believe it was in Anaheim, right?
Trisha Whitaker was cheering for the Rangers by the second inning.
Correct.
What was it, 3-0, something like that?
By the way, it is the Los Angeles Angels.
Okay. So we go Dodgers and Angels both in LA.
Well, I mean, the Angels have changed that like 7 times. But yes, after 3 innings, it was already 8-0 to your point. So right then you're like, okay, we're good, right?
The thing that helped Detmers a lot last night, he only had 2 strikeouts. So his pitch count was 108 for the game. He walked a guy in the 6th. That's where the perfect game ended. The fact that he only had 2 strikeouts, I think, was a big reason why they kept him in there. He stayed in there, considering his offense gave him 12 runs. So that is the first solo no-no of the season, and Detmer's a rookie, former top 10 pick.
Youngest no-hitter pitcher since 2006. I did see that. I had no idea it happened until this morning. I saw it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Speaking of baseball, I was I'm sure it's hit you, Jake, and it's starting to hit me more and more that, like, holy hell, I'm really old. Matt Ryan's the only Colts player older than me. I'm older than every Pacers player. Like, do you remember getting to that point where you're like, birthdays are happening in that
the
decade?
Other, you know what's really weird? Not only is that odd, when you realize it is a strange phenomenon, because you grow up your whole life looking at professional athletes. Here's another thing that's weird, Kevin, that will happen to you. When I look now at video of the 79 Bengals-Steelers games, and I see Ken Anderson or Terry Bradshaw or Lynn Swann or Pete Johnson, and I look at those guys and I go, man, those guys are grown men. And then I'm like, wait a minute. They're 28 years old in this photo. They got mustaches and they look like they, and then I'm like, they're 20 years younger than I am right now. But I see the picture and I think of them as being 25 years older than me or 20 years older than me. But then the other thing that's odd is when you are watching an NBA game or a college game more so, and you see a player playing and realize that is the son of an athlete that is younger than you are.
So that's what hit me last night. And I am feeling, talk about college right now. I mean, these kids are all born in the 2000s.
They have no idea what Y2K was.
How about this?
That's when it's there.
There's not a single, I mean, with rare, obviously, special exceptions, but for the most part, and a generalization maybe, there's not a high school student in the United States today that was alive on 9/11. I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, but it hit me last night. I was, and I do this, I feel like, every year. The MLB, I'm always kind of curious where, like, the top 10 picks for the MLB draft are from. I'm like, is there a cold state guy that gets drafted? Is there, like, a smaller college? Because, I mean, you talk about a crapshoot in the draft. Major League Baseball takes the cake.
Totally.
The number 1 prospect in the MLB draft for this year, the son of Andrew Jones.
Wow.
Good grief.
Now, the other question is, if that young man had the exact same pedigree, not pedigree, it wouldn't be pedigree, if he had the exact same resume, the exact same statistics, the exact same 40 time, the exact same vertical leap, and the exact same batting average, but his name was Andrew Bowen, would he be the number 1 prospect?
Yeah, it's the whole Arch Manning debate.
Totally.
I mean, Mark, for our age group, I don't know about you, Mark, but Andrew Jones was like one of the dudes.
Yep.
I mean, his ability to track balls down and those Braves teams, I mean, I just feel like, we kind of mimicked her. I feel like when I was in the outfield, I thought to myself, I'm going to try and mimic Andrew Jones.
Yeah, he was a great
Obviously,
player.
That did not go well. There's one more as well. The number 6 ranked prospect in this MLB look, or draft look, I guess, which comes up here in a few weeks.
May I guess? This is the
Sure.
offspring of a player?
Yes.
The player that it's the offspring of, is he a Hall of Famer?
No, but a very good player.
Position player or pitcher?
Position.
Okay, and did he win a World Series?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, my last question is, did he play in a warm weather climate?
I would not call it that. I mean, he kind of bounced around.
Okay. I will go with the son of Luis Gonzalez.
Matt Holliday.
Really?
I mean, it was not that long ago that Matt Holliday was playing baseball.
Yeah, I know.
Jackson Holliday, a shortstop from Stillwater High School. There's a Buff pitcher supposed to go in the first round.
Really?
Pitched last night over here at Victory Field in the Marion County Championship. Last name very difficult to pronounce. We'll just call him Andrew D. But yeah.
Okay. Andrew D. Now, wasn't he in the Beastie Boys?
I mean, Andrew Jones and Matt Holliday.
Well, that's like on the NFL. There's like Asante Samuel Jr. and
Well, we talked. Joey Porter's kid is being recruited, the other day, and it's just like, God, man, my body feels like I'm old, and now all of a sudden I'm looking at this and I'm like I'm old.
I'm just gonna kick back and listen to you guys because I enjoy it. I'm like, hey, just wait.
Couple things to get to today. I don't know, Jake. Did you happen to see Scott Agnes reporting last night on who the Pacers are sending to the lottery?
I did. Not one that we had listed in our odds.
Jeez. Is that really the route that they are going? A lot of respect for what this person has done, but I don't know about for the Pacers necessarily.
Very high up and very well respected within the organization.
I was looking last year at the lottery, and I'm looking up there, and it's Hakeem Olajuwon, Ben Wallace, Fred VanVleet. I don't know if this person would be in that realm of former Rocket, Piston, current Raptor.
Well, here's the thing. What former, this is a better question for it, Kevin. What former player could the Pacers send there that is beloved and enough the face of the franchise that has still neutrality, or excuse me, that does not have to have neutrality and can be like all in? I mean, Reggie Miller works for TNT, which I assume like it's probably on TNT. So like, could he be there as a representative of the Indiana Pacers?
I think I got a couple names. We can get to that as well.
Okay.
And then we got to go over our rankings on the road venues for the Colts here.
Don't say as well. Freddie's going to have PTSD.
I forgot about that. Also, is that what you wanted me to say?
Something else.
Yes.
What about
Also
whatever?
Well, whatever.
Whatever.
It is it's all of a sudden turned to muggy. It is a muggy Wednesday morning. No complaints, though, whatsoever from the spring that we have had. Kevin and Query on 93.5 107.5 The Fan.
The grass grows taller. Fathers take sons for their first trip to the Speedway. Sons take fathers to their 50th. Family traditions wrapped in checkered black and white. This is May in Indiana.
Starting to form in a perfect formation.
And this is your station for the month of May.
Green flag fly. Helio takes the lead on a turn one. Right home into the
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their hiring platform lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all in one place. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
Was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad. And I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't vinyl.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Having a hard time finding a nice used vehicle? Not at the Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood tent sale. Over 200 repos, lease turn-ins, and local trades available starting at $99 a month. Cash cars from $995. Most with a Chomwood lifetime powertrain coverage. Bank reps on site for instant approval. All prices or payments displayed. No negotiating necessary. 4 days only, Wednesday through Saturday at Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood. Home of guaranteed credit. US 31 and stop 18.
Hey, it's JMV. Sometimes you're just cruising through life and, well, something happens that's not your fault. You're in an accident. It causes injuries to both you and your family, and those medical bills can sure add up quickly. That's where Paul Cruz at Par Ritchie can help. Paul is recognized by the Super Lawyers Organization and his peers as one of the top personal injury attorneys in Indiana. Make the free call to see if Paul can help you. 317-269-2509, parinjury.com, P-A-R-R, injury.com.
Looking for a job that puts you in the racing action at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Eclipse Staffing and Security is hiring for guest services, credential checking, gate and cooler checking, the snake pit, and private events. Earn great pay and be a part of the team that makes sure the greatest spectacle in racing goes off without a hitch. Work a flexible schedule. Contact Eclipse Staffing and Security, 317-426-3696, or email info@eclipsestaffing.com. That's info@eclipsestaffing.com.
Indianapolis, at Geico, our employees' careers matter to us.
An inclusive office matters to me.
We hear you, Kelly. Geico has employee resource groups that bring people from all communities together because diversity matters. Your hopes and dreams matter. Even giving you a little space, your lucky bobblehead matters.
Want to work at Geico, Randy? Oh, he says yes.
When it comes to your career, what matters to you matters to Geico. We're now hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply today at careers.geico.com/Indianapolis and let's get growing.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's credit cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.3% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
We had a no-no last night in Major League Baseball. Reid Detmers of the LA Angels. They went 12-0. He goes 108 pitches. Only allowed one walk in the sixth. They keep him in there, which today's baseball, that is not a guarantee. And a no-hitter for the Angels over the Rays last night.
Unfortunately, Kevin, the Redlegs were not as fortunate.
No, it's a slow process here. A close loss. Shouldn't they get something for that?
That's true. Brewers snap a 3-game losing streak with the best medicine possible. That's the Reds coming to town. They beat Cincinnati 5-4, although that game was in Cincy, was it not?
Yeah, trying to make a late rally late and could not. Cubs lose the Padres 5-4. White Sox beat the Guardians. Tigers split a doubleheader with the A's.
NBA last night, it was Miami 120-85 over Philadelphia. That is now a 3-2 series. I believe Joel Embiid got hurt again, correct?
Stayed in, but yeah, did take kind of an ugly
Not good.
fall.
He only had 17.
Yeah, which with how he looks, and how that orbital and concussion and all that. That was an issue. Boy, both the games are ugly last night.
Yeah, Phoenix 110-80 over Dallas. So the Suns now take a 3-2 lead. Devin Booker with 28, DeAndre Ayton with 20. It does kind of feel like, and again, I mean, I thought Philadelphia, if Embiid is going at Embiid level, Philadelphia's still got a puncher's chance, obviously. But
talk about home court in this series, Jake.
Unbelievable, yeah.
All 5 wins have been by the home teams, and I would say the scoring margin has been just massive, especially with the 1 seeds winning these games at home. So like you said, both of these teams now up 3-2. It'll go back on the road for Game 6 tonight. Celtics and Bucks at 2-2. Boston is back home looking to take the lead in that series as the 2 seed. And Golden State, a chance to finish it. I hated seeing that John Morant news.
Yeah, John Morant has a bone bruise in his knee, right?
Doubtful for the remainder of the playoffs. We talked about this before. He is one of those guys. He might be the guy for me right now of pay to go see him play. And that is just a huge, huge difference, obviously, in that.
Okay, I'm going to give you the hockey score. You tell me who leads the series. You ready?
Oh, boy.
Carolina was a 5-1 winner over Boston. If you watch the TV show A Million Little Things, the Bruins are very prominent, whatever you want to say in it. Hurricanes 5-1 over Boston.
I think they lead.
You are correct. Carolina leads 3-2. The Toronto Maple Leafs, 4-3 winners over the Tampa Lightning.
Loyal listener Aaron is a huge Maple Leafs fan, so I'm going Maple Leafs.
Aaron is celebrating because Toronto's on the doorstep. They lead 3-2. St. Louis, 5-2 over the Minnesota Wild.
I had a Blues mug back in the day. Let's go with the Blues.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Blue Notes, 3-2 leaders over the Wild. And the LA Kings, Eazy-E's favorite team, 5-4 over the Oilers last night. Earl Campbell, by the way, 21 carries, 84 yards.
Let's give one to Canada. No?
Oh, Canada? Also a 3-2 series, the Kings leading. 3 games.
Man,
3-2.
almost perfect.
Shout out to the Fever. They get their first win of the season last night, 82-76 over the Minnesota Lynx. Kelsey Mitchell with 26 points. Should we do the schedule rundown?
I want to do the schedule rundown,
All right, we come back. We are going to, again, tomorrow the NFL schedule comes out for the Colts. It's 9 road games this year. Last year they had the extra home game with Tampa Bay. This year that flips to the road with the schedule now at 17 games. We will rank the road venues from a fan standpoint. You're going to factor in team, city, stadium, a little bit of weather as well.
Cost not an issue, right?
Cost not an issue.
Okay.
We are, Jim Irsay, Myra is our flight attendant, and we are flying.
Okay.
I was about to say we're flying high. That's probably not the way to
there we
put
go.
it there.
Myra.
AFC West, the venues there, Denver and Vegas. Dallas and New York in the NFC East, the AFC South venues as well, and Minnesota. We'll rank them when we come back. 93.5.
18 days to go on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hi guys, are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, May 11th, we're doing something special. Pine Grove Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy, shown by Cambridge to repair blood vessels and get rid of ED at its core. If you're ready to put a stop to your erectile dysfunction, call us now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're gonna love that. And today only, we're offering 3 additional treatments to our patients free. This means that if you notice results fading, we'll retreat you free of charge. This is unprecedented and worth $650. Call today, Wednesday, and qualify free. 317-552-1111. That's 317-552-1111. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Pine Grove Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 317-552-1111.
Dear driver, thank you. Thank you for slowing down when you saw the orange cones and road construction signs. My husband is one of those road workers. And today, you saved his life. If you hadn't slowed down, you would have missed that lane change, driven right into the work zone, and you would have killed him. Because you were driving differently. He'll be at our son's Little League game this weekend. He'll be there to walk our daughter down the aisle. He'll be out there tomorrow, making Indiana's roads safer. Thank you.
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Ray Hobbs, business manager of Labor's Local 741. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
When a health system treats patients with the very best in medical care and compassion, it needs a rare kind of staff. That's why Eskenazi Health never stops looking for professionals who understand that technology is most effective when paired with a genuine human touch. If you are a nurse,
a social worker,
or another professional interested in a career with us, visit eskenazihealth.edu/careers. Eskenazi Health, one of Becker's 150 great places to work in healthcare.
Hubler has all the top brands: Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, Acura, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and more. And every new vehicle includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Looking to sell your vehicle? We'll pay you top dollar, even if you don't buy ours. Take it from Brooke Hubler.
You can get a car anywhere, but you can only get a warranty like this at Hubler. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Visit drivehubler.com. Warranty available on new vehicles except certain models, not transferable or available on leases. Copy of the warranty is available for review at the dealership.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to put extra cash in your pocket with a cash-out refinance from Golden Oak Lending.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today, while Golden Oak still has millions of dollars available.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? If so, we have some great news. There is finally a treatment for ED that requires no pills, no injections, and no surgery. This is the latest medical breakthrough for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic is proud to offer the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, which has been proven to increase blood flow, reverse ED, and increase size. Stop wasting your time with pills that produce side effects and have little to no results. Medical institutions at Cambridge University and Cleveland Clinic have shown this technology to be safe with no side effects. So if you're looking for a proven solution, call Indianapolis Men's Clinic today. They have performed over 12,000 treatments with outstanding results that can help you too. Call Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 317-999-9000. That's 317-999-9000 or at IndianapolisMen'sClinic.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
When Bluebell takes milk chocolate ice cream and loads it with chocolate-coated peanut butter cups and peanut butter cookie dough pieces, you get chocolate peanut butter overload. Better by a country smile.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all Meijer stores.
Hey, it's Jake Query. Wendy's has one kind of breakfast, a better one. Start your day with a Wendy's sausage, gravy, and biscuit. We're talking savory grilled breakfast sausage and a creamy Southern-style black pepper gravy served on top of a warm, freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Be another hot one today in Indianapolis. Good Wednesday morning. Thanks for tuning in. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5. We're going to hear from Turron Davenport a little bit later in the show. ESPN.com covers the Titans. Just kind of get his thoughts on what has been an interesting offseason in Nashville. And the Colts right now, the clear favorite in the AFC South. According to those in Vegas, we'll see where the Titans end up on the schedule. You know, last year, kind of a weird scheduling quirk for the Colts, Jake. You played the Titans both games before Halloween.
That's right.
And so, boom, you lose to them at home on Halloween, and all of a sudden it's like, yep, there goes winning the division. And Tennessee ended up getting that number 1 overall seed. So I think when you look at the schedule, and again, it'll be announced tomorrow, we're going to rank our road venues. If you are a member of the Colts, what are you looking for? I'd say the Tennessee games would be high on the list.
No, wait, so you're saying if I'm a player?
Player, coach, staff member, what would have your interest on that schedule? Again, AFC West, NFC East.
So we're talking about from a actual football standpoint, or just like in terms of
football standpoint. Like you're trying to make the playoffs, you're trying to end this divisional drought that now
you're going to laugh at this. You are going to laugh at this. The first thing I would look at, if you consider their road opponents: Vegas, Denver, Dallas, Tennessee, New York, Houston, Jacksonville, Minnesota, New England. The first thing I look at is when I'm playing New England for the weather standpoint. Weather not an issue in Minnesota, right?
Is that the only real weather game?
New England really is, right? Well, maybe New York.
Yeah, New York.
But New England seems to be one that it's. Have you ever seen a game in Foxborough? Ever? Have you ever turned on a game in New England where it wasn't dark at 4 p.m, 32 degrees and misty and foggy? Ever.
The only time it was like decent weather was the Deflategate game. It was like a balmy 55 degrees in January.
Well, that's why the air was out of the footballs, Kevin.
Boom.
That was all science. Now,
you don't think Denver would be a weather issue?
Oh, yeah.
Denver can, but I mean,
I always hear if you have them early in the season, it's bad because it's super hot, and then it, obviously in the wintertime, you don't know what you're getting from a game-to-game basis.
The thing about Denver,
it's a good point.
They could, you could play, as ask Mike Vanderjagt, you could play in a blizzard in Denver, and then the next day it's 65 degrees, right? They get sun there 360 days a year. So that, to me, the first thing I look at is weather, to be honest with you.
Yeah, see, I think this team is kind of equipped for that, so I wouldn't look at it too much. I mean, last year they played their best in poor weather. So that wouldn't worry me too much. I'd be looking at when do those AFC West teams pop up? Is there any stretch of, 2 of 3 against the AFC West, something like that,
but see,
given the quarterbacks in that division, and potentially you could be competing for some wild card spots with those teams.
Okay.
So those games take on a little bit added weight.
But if you are playing a team, and there's no way to predict this, but if you're playing, for example, you could look at, let's say, Kansas City, and I can't fathom this is the case because of, I know Kansas City's a home game, but so let's say on the road here, probably not applicable with the Raiders, but if you were looking at a road game in like January, December, like late in the year, week 15, 16, 17, sometimes it can be to your advantage to be playing a lights-out opponent because think about this, Kevin. During the Peyton Manning years in Indianapolis, how big an advantage was it for teams that got their schedule and looked at it and went, oh, my goodness, we got to play the Colts in mid-December. Until you realize that the Colts have the division clinched and are resting everybody. And you go in and you are Seattle or you're Arizona and you're getting them in late December and you're like, hey, sweet. So,
well, the AFC West can be too competitive.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on this.
I don't see anyone running away.
And New England probably isn't going to either, right?
Honestly, a team that could probably run away with the division would
Dallas?
maybe be Dallas in the East. But is Dallas going to go for home field, things like that? With only having one bye now, I think we see less and less of that. Because I think teams want to get that one seed, want to have home field throughout. I would look AFC West. I would certainly look at where the Titans games are, those 2 games. And then just in general, what does September look like? I mean, you haven't won a season opener since 2013. Think back to last year's schedule. It was the immediate thing that jumped off the page. Seattle, the Rams, the Ravens early in the year, the Titans in week 3, the Dolphins in week 4. I mean, that you couldn't dig yourself out of that hole. So I think given how this team has started seasons under Frank Reich, that I think is what this staff would look at very early, especially with new quarterback and a new defense as well. Are there going to be a little bit of growing pains early in the year? If that's the case, you're going to want a little bit of an easier stretch to open. You would love to see, home to Houston week 1, home to Jacksonville week 1. You feel like it'll be Jacksonville to close out the season, like it seemingly is every year, right?
I mean, we went to Jacksonville, and I can't even say like we were flat. Just like we weren't we got blown out. Like, what was it he said? I mean, Irsay was
irate.
Still, I think.
Myra, get my herbal tea.
All right, let's rank them, okay? 9 road games.
Now, this is simply if you were wanting to pack together your buddies and go on a trip to a game, right?
I know a lot of Colts fans that they go to one road game a year.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Something like
that. So
that.
that's what we're ranking them based on that, right?
So a combination of the city, the stadium.
Okay.
I think the opponent, and then a little bit of weather, because as of right now, we're uncertain when these games will be.
Give me, Kevin, your worst. Give me the one that if we're drawing out of a hat, you win a trip for 4 to go see the Colts on the road. You win the trip. What's the one that you are most disappointed if you pulled it out of the hat?
Yeah, I'd rather go watch the Colts play the Patriots in Montana than go to Foxborough.
Okay, I also have New England as the worst. Boston's a great city.
Foxborough's in the middle of nowhere.
It is.
Some people would say stay in Providence.
And by the way, I will tell that's if you're planning on going to that game, folks, fly into Providence. Much more convenient to get to Foxborough. Foxborough is halfway between Boston and Providence. I also would have New England worst. Mark?
I have the Jaguars. I've been to that stadium. I don't want to go back.
Okay, but it's going to be
Florida weather.
That's
true. But as far as opponent, and God Almighty, if they lose again in Jacksonville,
what
good optimistic view here?
You worried
that
that the 12,000 fans there are going to mock you?
I've been there before. I don't want to see it again.
Okay.
I know they've made improvements since I've been there, but
I've said this about
no, thank you. And that's in the middle of nowhere too. That stadium, there's nothing there.
Foxborough is like putting Lucas Oil Stadium in Martinsville.
Correct.
So yeah, that was my worst.
Okay, second, and we're not going to go all the way through them, but second worst.
I've got Houston.
Same.
Okay. Houston, the area itself, for those that are unfamiliar with Houston, the city of Houston, this is what Houston is. If you were to take Keystone at the Crossing, like that area of Keystone at the Crossing, the Fashion Mall, and then like the little not high rise, but 12-story office parks and a couple of hotels. If that was like a water droplet and you took a wet paintbrush and just like slapped it on like a huge 200 square mile area.
So true.
That's Houston. Literally, like those little water droplets of Keystone at the Crossing times 50 and like a 50 square mile area. That's
one
Houston.
of the worst game environments you will be in as well.
But it does have the Fiesta grocery store right across the street from the stadium and the Astrodome where I broke in and it was fabulous and I stole turf. Yes, I still have some if anybody would like some piece of history.
Bad football team, bad atmosphere, spread out city. The weather is the only advantage.
The people in Houston are very nice. The weather is not bad. So I had Houston a little bit higher up. I put Minnesota, and I love the Twin Cities. Love it. Paisley Park apparently is extremely cool. Mm-hmm. There are a ton of cool things to do in Minnesota. I just think it's too big a weather risk. After October, zero chance that I'm wanting to go to Minnesota.
Last time the Colts played in Minnesota, I was there. It was negative 17 degrees for that game. It was in December. The stadium is so cool. I put it 5th on the list.
Okay.
The stadium's unreal. I think the city's very underrated.
It's a fabulous city.
They could be kind of good this year. It
That's
feels
the
like
Vikings every year. Yeah,
you feel like you just wake up and like, oh, the Vikings went 8-9.
The Vikings are the Pacers of the NFL.
Like watching Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, though, that would be fun.
The Vikings are just above the Texans on my list for least desirable third.
Was it a lot of weather?
I've been there before. I mean, aside from Paisley Park is great, but the actual city and stuff, there's not much.
By the way, do they still have the Mall of America?
Yes.
That's where we
stayed. It hasn't moved.
Is it still like just 17 Gap stores? It's like the same thing over and over and over. Although when I went to Mall of America, when you park in Mall of America, the parking lot, like at the old days at Kings Island when the parking lot's like, I parked in Fred Flintstone Lot 3. Mm-hmm. Mall of America, the parking lot is by states. And I parked by complete coincidence in Indiana. and then got out and figured I'd welcome people to Indiana. And as people were parking, I was walking up saying, I'd like to welcome you to Indiana. I'm from Indianapolis. And they called security.
I was going to say, can I guess what they said to you? Well,
Minneapolis PD is on line 1.
Okay, let's go with top 4. We'll jump forward here. 4th, you have what, Kevin?
I've got Titans.
That's exactly what I have. Tennessee's great. Nashville, Broadway.
Easy travel.
If you can stand 15,000 bachelorette parties all screaming atop school buses that pretend like that they were the first to ever do it, then it's pretty cool.
I've got the Giants.
I had them a little lower.
I would like to go to this. I've never been to that stadium. I'd like to see it. And then plus you got New York City right nearby. I know you're in New Jersey when you're watching the game, but
I think the stadium's a tad overrated. But, I mean, you have the New York experience, so...
And cost is no option, so I know I'm going to be paying through the nose to
Do you really want
to
watch Daniel Jones play football?
Yeah. You know what? It's probably a win then, isn't it? For the Colts?
I mean...
I'd like to get a victory while I'm there.
Here's the thing. This is the difference between the two of us, Kevin. When I'm thinking about these trips, football is the last thing I'm thinking about. All I'm thinking about is what cities are cool, where has good restaurants, good like nightlife, what's the weather going to be like, what are the hotels going to be like, what is there to do?
Yeah, that's my rankings too.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the entertainment of a game is something you would want to see as well. I think that...
Well, maybe I'm seeing a Colts route. Maybe that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but for me, it's like it's an NFL game regardless, right? I mean, even though... somewhat if it's Jacksonville.
Plus, I know if season ticket holders are mad, they're going to give me their free Pepsi that they got for being a season ticket holder. Did you see that? You got a medium Pepsi for being a season ticket holder?
Where?
Because they were thanking fans as fan appreciation, and they handed out a medium Pepsi for the Giants.
Really?
God.
Well, you can't get
you suck.
You can't get large sodas in New York City, right?
They said you couldn't even get large. I said medium.
Well,
medium Pepsi.
literally, like they have like a limit, 16 ounce or something. They're trying to like cut down the diabetes in New York. I kid you not. All right, number 3, Kevin. Who do you have?
I went with Jerry's World.
I did too.
Same. Exact same.
Yep.
Gosh,
okay.
we're so boring.
Dallas is a cool area.
I am a big Dallas fan.
Yeah,
Dallas
the weather's
greater than Houston and by a long shot.
Well, you should note that it's in Arlington, so we are a little outside the actual downtown Dallas, but Arlington still has its amenities
Jerry's probably
too.
got a bus.
Catch a Rangers game if it's still baseball season too. It's right across the street.
Head out there. Yeah.
I would almost guarantee here we're going to have the same top 2. Number 2, Kevin?
I went with Vegas.
Denver.
I was torn between these two. I was absolutely torn between these two. One of my best friends lives in Denver. Shannon's entire family lives in Denver. I've been to Denver a lot, but I went with Denver number 2.
I think Vegas, it can be just a hair too much.
Yeah, I totally.
So that's why I put it 2.
That's hard to argue.
No one does Vegas in a 30-mile-per-hour car. You do Vegas full speed, and you think about it on the flight home, and you regret it.
If you're going to honestly, if you were going, I'm not certain. If I was going to a Colts game in Vegas, I think I'd maybe even contemplate just flying in Saturday morning. Because if you did it on Friday and you had Friday night and Saturday night in Vegas, by the time Sunday game rolls around, you're like, oh my God.
You're asleep on the big
Well,
Jumbotron.
you're probably staying the night too. I don't think you're getting out of Dodge, especially if that's,
Oh, no way with the time change?
Yeah, you're probably staying until Monday morning.
Because that game's starting at 4:25 local.
Right.
Or
right.
That's if it's not a primetime game.
Back here.
So but clearly the top 2 would be Vegas and Denver. So do you have Denver number 1?
I've got
Kevin?
Denver 1.
Yeah.
I think the stadium, I think it's the second loudest stadium that I've been in. I think the environment is outstanding. I think stadium looks really cool, and I'm just a huge Denver fan. And then again, from a team entertainment standpoint, Russell Wilson and all of that, I think it'd be a terrific game.
I think that Denver might tip the scales over Vegas based on how you're going to be treated by the opposing fans as well. I think you have the potential. I don't know about in Vegas as much as how you did in Oakland, but I do think that with Raider fans, you have the potential for it to be a miserable experience.
And you're flying high in Denver.
In more ways than one, probably.
Well, I mean, you could get that for the Lions, for crying out loud, which you need if you're a fan of the Lions, right?
So no one had anything too crazy ranked high.
No.
I know a lot of Colts fans that are very eager to see when the Vegas game is.
I mean, that's going to be the case for the biggest challenge, to be honest with you, for moving forward for the Las Vegas Raiders is going to be if they can ever actually get a true home field advantage environment. Because what percent of the fans at a game in Las Vegas is always going to be the opposing team's fans, because that is the destination trip of the NFL, right?
Now, if you are a Colts season ticket holder, could you make your money back by selling the Chiefs game?
Jimmy Cook probably will buy them.
I mean,
Steelers game? You talk about two fan bases
yeah.
that trap. Matt Ryan will go silent count for Chiefs and Steelers.
Yeah.
Do you think there would be a big appeal for the Washington game?
I don't think at that level. Chiefs and Steelers, I think it's
Chargers too, I think would be a big one. I don't know if they travel well, but I think the appeal of seeing Justin Herbert.
I think it would be a really entertaining game here, but I don't think you got a powder blue nation across the
there's
US.
no doubt that, I don't know though, do you think the Chiefs have entered into yet? I know that look, Arrowhead is fabulous, don't get me wrong, but do you think of Kansas City as a huge traveling fan base? I know that like little kids, it's the Steph Curry factor. I get that.
It's not the Steelers from a traveling fan base standpoint.
Or the Packers.
But I do think it is a little bit of and I'm glad you brought the Steph Curry, all the Carmel Pups kids wearing his jersey to Pacers games. Think about the home games or the road games within their division. Everything's out west for Kansas City. This would be a Midwest road game that doesn't always appear on their schedule. So if you love Mahomes and you live in Cincinnati or Louisville.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. You get that with the Pacers, right?
Right. The Pacers feel it a whole lot given how the NBA map looks. I think that would be something. You said schedule leaks. Where did you see? You see Chiefs week 3? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, but as you mentioned, there are a couple of teams that are mentioned in that.
So that would be late September?
Yeah.
That's a big one early.
Mm-hmm. Apparently a 1 o'clock kickoff too, so no prime time, no late game slot.
Yeah, we'll have to get into the prime time. The home games for the Colts, again, Chiefs and Steelers. You'll have Washington, as Mark said. Philly, Nick Sirianni coming back home. The Chargers, I think, is a great, great game. And then, of course, you'll have your 3 AFC South home games.
I would say anything that isn't tweeted out by a team or the NFL themselves, take it with a grain of salt. So Colts Chiefs has been announced, but I'd also it's not an official release. Right. So
Brian was asking Colts at Dallas on Thanksgiving? ? I
think
does Matt Ryan draw more national appeal?
The rumored one that I saw,
Carson Wentz or Phillip Rivers?
The rumored Thanksgiving game is Bengals Cowboys.
Makes total sense.
Matt Ryan draws the same national appeal as Carson Wentz or Phillip Rivers.
The Colts were on national TV a good amount last year. They just were road games.
But I mean, I think, how much appointment viewing were the Atlanta Falcons last year for you?
About
Very
as
low.
minimal as they come.
Right. But they have Matt Ryan. So, I mean, he's a name, but I don't know that people nationally are like, oh my gosh, Matt Ryan, I got to watch him play in Dallas.
Well, Calvin Ridley had to because he had him on the money line.
Yeah, jeez. It's fine. I had him on the money line.
He'll have plenty of opportunity for that again this year.
Good thing he had the Falcons on the money line against the Jags. Good thing he didn't have the Colts on the money line.
Yeah.
Against the Jags. We'll take a closer look at the schedule as well. A little bit of Pacers news to get to, and we've got Steph Wilson coming up a little bit late in the show, right, Jake?
That is correct. What time did you say Mark Steph's calling in? Do we know? 9:40ish?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Round out the show.
All right.
And a great story.
Very much so.
Great story. The 33rd entry into the Indianapolis 500, so we'll talk about that. Turron Davenport to go over the Titans saga this offseason at 9 o'clock. 8 o'clock hour is coming up here. Kevin and Query on a Wednesday.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Rossi trying to go around Will Power. Will Power locks him up. He will get into the grass.
Renus BK's going to go through the middle. He's going to split the two Ganassi cars, and he'll take that position. Here he comes, Mark James. Lynn Checker's out, and he is a winner.
It's the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Saturday, coverage at 2. Flag drops at 3. On your home for the month of May. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You need a lawn care pro and a pest control pro. You can have both in one guy. DoMyOwn.com will help you get there with pro products, pro knowledge, and pro support. DoMyOwn.com for the pro in you.
The Sundown Gardens Spring Open House is next Saturday, May 21st. Live music, door prizes, and sign up to win a maple tree. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
All right, with summer right around the corner, I am itching to get back outside, and certainly this week it feels like if you're concerned about any lingering aches and pains, you can get help via QC Kinetics. You don't have to go through another summer with that awful joint pain. QC Kinetics can help your pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder. Be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics. We're talking growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood, to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. You can take action now and get a free consultation for powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics. So call QC Kinetics, 463-235-7160. Again, locations on the west side in Eagle Creek and down south in Greenwood. That is 463-235-7160.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Are you looking to stay cool this summer and have fun with your family and friends? Call Royal Pin Entertainment at 465-8484 to join a summer league today. Summer leagues are fun and affordable and last only a short time. If you're going to bowl this summer, bowl at a Royal Pin Entertainment Center. Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com to join a league today. Grab your friends and stop in your favorite Royal Pin Entertainment Center for open play. Reserve your lanes by the hour at royalpin.com. Come bowling this summer and have the time of your life. Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling.
Having a hard time finding a nice used vehicle? Not at the Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood Tent Sale. Over 200 repos, lease turn-ins, and local trades available starting at $99 a month. Cash cars from $995, most with a Chomwood Lifetime Powertrain coverage. Bank reps on site for instant approval. All prices or payments displayed. No negotiating necessary. 4 days only, Wednesday through Saturday at Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood, home of guaranteed credit, US 31 and stop 18.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best in realty. Mark Deedle Realty. 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. Online, markdeedle.com. That's markdeedel.com. Today. Hey, let's talk about John and Mindy for a moment. With their kids out of the house, it was time to downsize. So they were counting on top dollar in a hot market to help with their next phase in life. So they heard about Mark Deedle. Mark Deedle is there to help. Next thing you know, everything is absolutely done right. That's exactly what you get with the best, Mark Deedle Realty. In fact, Mark Deedle has a guarantee for you. Multiple offers on your home in 3 days, or he is going to list it for free. That's Mark Deedle Realty, 317-755-4232, 317-755-4232. MarkDeedle.com. That's MarkDeedle.com today.
Jake Query here. You know, recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Join me today, noon to 3, more of Twitter stupidity from Colts fanboys. And, ladies and gentlemen, Seth Greenberg, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our bikes program. Join me today.
It's Kevin and Query.
If we die together.
Yeah, right.
You can get it done. You can get it done. What's more, you gotta get it done.
On 93.5
baby!
107.5, The Fan.
It is the 8 o'clock hour in Indianapolis. Technically speaking, the 8 o'clock hour everywhere in the Eastern time zone. Good morning to you. My name is Jake Query. Kevin Bowen here as well, because it is Kevin and Query. As a matter of fact, Kevin, the first name you hear and the other voice that you hear, Mark Dykton, typically is running the board for us as the producer of this program, but Mark is getting ready to exercise his option for his 7th week of vacation upcoming. So Sam Fritz, the pride of Pennsylvania, is capably sitting in right now. And here's the thing, Sam, no pressure on you because even if something gets screwed up, we're going to blame Mark anyway. So okay. So Sam already is on the horn there.
Mark is out on carb day. Is he just going to be blasted by about 8:30 in the morning when we're doing the show out
That's
there?
right. I'm not sure what Mark said. He was like, yeah, Sam's going to be training because I'm going on vacation again. I said, oh, okay. Where are you headed? Well, I'm just taking off carb day. Well, good.
Sounds like a lot of people in this city.
No question about it. Kevin, you and I had off the air, I wouldn't say a debate, but a discussion, let's say. I think we have a philosophical difference here. I'm not saying that you are wrong, but I had not really thought of it. Tell me your reaction. Tell me the Pacers news you heard yesterday and what your knee-jerk reaction was.
Well, after yesterday, I half expected you to be in an Alize Johnson jersey today.
That's right.
After your staunch defense of his career here in Indy. I want to give all credit to Scott Agnes on this. Fieldhouse Files will have Scott on tomorrow, and he had this on his website as the representative for the Pacers at the lottery. Who were some of those names you threw out yesterday? You were kind of making an odds list. I was trying to think of it last night. You had David Benner on the odds.
I was like joking around kind of off the top of my head.
Did you throw Halliburton on there?
I think I did throw Halliburton. I think we had Boomer on the list, right?
Boomer, yeah. I threw in Flamingo guy.
Did we have...
I feel like you had another semi-legit one.
Donnie Walsh?
Yeah, I think you had Donnie.
See, the thing to me, Smits I should have thrown in. I forgot Rick Smits. Although Smits doesn't live here anymore. I think he moved to Arizona, maybe. But to me, the thing that is a challenge, name a franchise off the top of your head, Kevin. Not a marquee, but like a mid-tier NBA franchise.
The Pistons.
The Detroit Pistons. So the Detroit Pistons, if they were going to, well, they will be there. There are a couple of players that are very clearly representative of the Pistons that do not have connection or affiliation in other ventures. For example, and I think he coaches in the WNBA. Bill Laimbeer would be one. Rip Hamilton would be, very clear. You could say Chauncey Billups, but he, is involved in other areas of the NBA, but you still have some viable options
Isn't he
there.
Coaching the Trailblazers?
That's what I mean. Like he's involved elsewhere, right? So Rip Hamilton, for example, I'm not sure what he's doing now, but he is a very popular player within them. He was probably their best player on their last title team. For the Pacers, the clear face they're in a weird position because there is absolutely zero question who the face of the franchise is. It's Reggie Miller, and it's not close. He is the most beloved player. He is the face of the franchise, etc. But he works for TNT as an analyst, covering all games. And Reggie Miller, actually, I think Reggie Miller has a soft spot for Indiana. But Reggie Miller, as soon as his career was done here, went back to California. He has not been back a lot, quite frankly. He never comes back unless it's for in an official capacity. I'm not knocking him for that. But he is a representative of the kind of now covering all teams in the NBA. So outside of that, Rick Smits maybe, but he doesn't live in Indiana any longer.
Yeah, I thought Smits, I thought Jermaine O'Neal, and potentially Danny Granger.
Okay, Granger is interesting because great player, underrated player. But Danny Granger and Jermaine O'Neal both have two things going against them at no fault of their own per se. Danny Granger and Jermaine O'Neal, while both fantastic players for the Pacers and good guys, both of them represent to a lot of people an immediate. When I say Jermaine O'Neal Pacers, what's the first thing you think of?
Yeah, certainly the brawl.
And when I say Danny Granger Pacers, what's the first thing you think of?
I probably think of really nice player.
Understood. I mean, he has, for that matter, Danny Granger, if I'm not mistaken.
Without Danny Granger, I don't think you get to the Paul George, David West teams.
Understood. Danny Granger he has the second highest single season scoring average, I believe, in Pacers NBA history behind only Billy Knight.
Really?
I believe that's correct. a wonderful talent, but I think a lot of people
Scotty needs to throw that on the pop quiz.
I think Danny Granger is seen by a lot of people as the face of the franchise during its most mediocre era. And I'm not disputing you in terms of the fact he was a wonderful soldier for the franchise, but
see, I think that part right there, Jake, you're recognizing someone in the franchise that doesn't always get the
no question.
Proper
I don't
recognition.
disagree.
And I look at this as kind of an opportunity to do that. Give a tip of the cap to someone that you aren't going to get Reggie to do every single event.
Right.
So that's how I kind of view.
Okay, so what? So how do you know that that's not what they're doing?
This. Well, the person that they've chosen, I don't think has really any direct correlation to the Pacers as a franchise. Tons of connections with the Indiana Fever and extremely respected with her resume. But to the Pacers?
Yes. Maybe not to you. And I don't mean you, Kevin. I just mean to a fan, maybe not. But I think that what the Pacers are saying, Kelly Krauskopf has been named as the representative that will be there for the Pacers. I think.
And again, I want to credit Scott Agnes for that because I know Scott did a lot of reporting for Fieldhouse Files on this, and I don't think it's been reported anywhere else.
She was the general manager of the Fever for their first 17 years and is now the assistant general manager for the Pacers. I think this is the Pacers sports and entertainment and Pacers as a franchise way of saying to people that she is a prominent part. This is cementing because people still think of her perhaps as being associated with the Fever. She is now prominently a member of the Pacers front office. And so I think this is Indiana's way of cementing to people or reinforcing to people, we have a female that is working in our executive office. Let that be known. And so that's what symbolically it represents by having her in that position and letting people know you might, and I'm not saying you, Kevin, just fans in general, you may associate her with the Fever, but don't kid yourself. This is a prominent piece that we very much respect as part of our brass and inner workings of our franchise.
And that's fine. I understand where you're coming from with that. That's fine. Obviously, what she did with the Fever, building a championship team, drafting Tamika Catchings, all that speaks for itself. I look at last year, Jake, and the Pistons had Ben Wallace up there. The Rockets had Akeem Olajuwon up there. I think the Raptors, didn't the Raptors have a top 4 or 5 pick? Scotty Barnes. They had Fred VanVleet up there. Again, it's a lottery representative. I'm not going to act like this is some earth-shattering decision here by the franchise. I would like to see an ode to a little bit more of a former player, someone that didn't, and I appreciate the Pacers for doing this. I feel like in recent years, you've started to put Jermaine O'Neal in a little bit more of the appreciation factor. Remember when like J.O. didn't appear in the hype up video before a game? You know, it was like you wanted to get so far away from that era, and I feel like him and Granger, and I'd probably go with Smits, but him and Granger, I feel like fall into that category of let's give a hat tip to those guys, direct Pacers representatives. I get that the Fever fall under the same umbrella, but I think to the casual fan, it's more of a kind of like a whereas an Olajuwon, a Ben Wallace, a Fred VanVleet, that's more of a, oh yeah, wow, okay. That's a very notable name.
Where I respectfully disagree with you is I think, and I don't mean this to sound condescending, I think you're overthinking it. I don't think people think it's that big a deal.
Oh, trust me, I'm not acting like this is earth-shattering news.
What player would you... So you said... And I get it. The problem with Jermaine... I mean, I covered virtually Jermaine's entire time here, and he was I mean, it's not like he's deceased. He's a wonderful guy, thoughtful guy, nice guy, really nice guy. And I think very misunderstood. But he also was kind of a pain late in his career with the Pacers. I mean, when things went south in the relationship, they went south pretty quick. I mean, he was kind of a diva. He was fairly unreliable he just, like I said, a nice person. Don't get me wrong.
Jermaine has admitted that he made several mistakes in his time here in Indiana, and I don't think we should necessarily hold those stains against him for the rest of his time and celebrating one of the more accomplished players in NBA history for the Pacers franchise.
Let me ask you something. Should Jeff George be in the Colts Ring of Honor?
You'd probably have a better answer on that than I.
Because, Jeff George has admitted.
Jermaine O'Neal was third in MVP voting, right?
Jeff George led the league in passing. Not as a Colt.
Well, that's a huge difference.
But with Jermaine O'Neal, you're taking the point you're making is that you are taking his totality as a player in the NBA and saying that the mistakes that he made in terms of his abrasion within his franchise or his community are offset now because he's recognized and atoned for them. And I get that. Jeff George, to the same point, I'm kind of saying it till I put it in the terms of like within the Colts' relatability. Jeff George is a guy that would say that he handled things incorrectly perhaps when he was here as a player, but no one disputes his talent level as an NFL player, and he went on to have a wonderful NFL career. Now, Jermaine O'Neal, the one difference being that perhaps his primary years were with the Pacers.
I guess you would know this better than I, but Jermaine O'Neal's Pacers tenure was better than Jeff George's Colts tenure. Correct?
I would agree. Correct, but they ended in similar fashion. And you could make the argument that Jermaine O'Neal, and look, I've seen the documentary. I get it. I was around. I wasn't at the game when the brawl took place. And I saw the documentary that Jermaine O'Neal produced. I totally see all sides of it. I'm not pinning blame on Jermaine O'Neal, but Jermaine O'Neal was a key figure and, without question, the darkest moment in the history of the franchise. Not saying it was his fault, but he was. And I get it. All things should be forgiven, and I think now in this community they have been. But from a franchise standpoint, I think you still would be like, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one to overlook. It's kind of like Eric Dickerson is in the Ring of Honor. But Eric Dickerson, the way it ended in Indianapolis, Dickerson, the difference being he was the first superstar to play for the Indianapolis Colts.
I kind of like the Granger idea.
Sam says, not bad.
When I think of Danny Granger, I think of him diving for a loose ball, losing some teeth. Love Danny's heart. Alex says Danny Granger's my favorite all-time Pacer because he was on bad teams for the most part and never complained.
Yeah, that's fair.
Claude brings up Jalen Rose. I don't know, to Jake's point, if like their media obligations now play a huge factor in it.
Well, Jalen
Rose is employed by ESPN. You would think the lottery is on ESPN. That would be pretty.
Here's the thing. Jalen Rose was a wonderful player. I think Jalen Rose was truly hurt. Matter of fact, let me rephrase it. I know. Jalen Rose was truly hurt when he was traded from Indiana. Jalen Rose and Travis Best were traded. The Pacers wanted Brad Miller, quite frankly. And when they inquired about trading for Brad Miller out of Chicago, Chicago essentially said, we will do this trade, but we want to throw in Ron Artest. And they warned Indiana of Ron Artest's transgressions, and Indiana agreed to take that on, along with Kevin Ollie and Ron Mercer that came in that trade, and they sent Jalen Rose and Travis Best to Chicago. Donnie Walsh had a personal policy that anytime he was going to trade a player, that he would talk to the player before the trade took place about the fact that they were in trade discussions, and in addition to that, he would ask players if there were any cities that they would not want to be traded to. And when the trade took place for Brad Miller, Jalen Rose was kind of the piece that Chicago held out for. And so they went ahead and made the trade, but it became kind of an 11th hour amendment of Jalen Rose's inclusion. And Donnie greatly regrets that he didn't talk with Jalen Rose ahead of time. It is the only player he traded without prior conversation. And Jalen Rose was very hurt by that, and it fractured greatly the relationship between Rose and not necessarily the brass or the individuals of the Pacers, but just his mindset of his thought as a Pacer. Because he absolutely loved being a Pacer, and I think
he's
wanted
been
to be
very
here.
Outspoken about that.
Right,
love this time here,
and he was hurt by it. So But because he's at ESPN, he would be a wonderful. I mean, that's a great pick. Vern Fleming, somebody said, and I totally agree with that. Vern Fleming, who has the NBA record for most minutes played, most games played in a career without a technical foul. The true gentleman. Vern Fleming was an underappreciated player.
I think you get some of these Vern Fleming type nods from other franchises. Like I see other franchises at the lottery do this. Okay,
I get that.
Let's not go with our number 1, 2, 3 rep of this person has a jersey hanging in the rafters.
The other challenge, Kevin, is that Jermaine O'Neal, Danny Granger, Vern Fleming, Rick Smits, any of those that I just mentioned, if you were doing it as like kind of a PR ploy, all of the people that we just mentioned are going to be appreciated strictly by people who appreciate the draft and the Pacers anyway. There's nobody that's like, oh, wow, like I might kind of root for them. That's cool. That's different. None of them. If you're going for it as a gateway to get people to notice your franchise, all of those names that we just mentioned are going to be recognized and appreciated by people who already recognize your franchise.
Bart, who's 45, says this: I have nothing but good memories of J.O., including the brawl. I stand behind his stance on it. I'd love to see him rep the Pacers at the lottery. Jeff George was not enjoyable. No Ring of Honor for him.
Okay. I mean, you can get... The only reason I made Jermaine and Jeff George the comparison is the fact that, Jeff George had a sour departure from here, as did Jermaine, and later atoned for it by his own admission. Open disclaimer, and I will say it proudly from the top of the One America building. I was not as a player a fan of Jeff George. As a person, I am a huge, and you would meet very few people that have known him well, because Jeff George, when you get to know him, there is not a loyal, more open-hearted, kind person that I would run through a wall for than Jeff George. But I totally understand at 100%. 100%. Jeff George, to me, and I don't, disingenuous to say that I know Jeff George well, or knew him well, I should say. As a player, I didn't know him at all. I got to know him. I'll tell you this, and I know we're up against it, but I will tell you this. Partially because he wouldn't want me telling this, which is why I think it's cool. Maybe that's not cool of me. When I worked at WIBC years ago, Terry Stacy and I had to work on Thanksgiving morning. And so we were like, okay, if we're going to do the show on Thanksgiving, what are we going to do? And I said, well, let's do this. Let's do the show, and let's get like Kroger to donate like 10 meals, and let's have listeners write in that don't have family in town or can't travel to their family or whatever, and we will deliver meals on the air to these people and talk to them and tell their story as to who they are and whatever else, and have fun with it. So that's what we did. And Kroger sent a surplus of meals, more so than what we needed for this. It might have been the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, truth be told, now that I think about it. But either way, we had extra meals, so we're like, we might as well go take these to. And I can't recall if it was Salvation Army or Gleaners where we took them to drop them off. And I pulled up, and there was a semi-truck out in front. A semi-truck. An 18-wheeler. And the back of it lifted up, and Jeff George is handing food off to this where we were dropping it off. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, hey, man, like, can we put you on the radio? Like, what are you doing? And he said, well, I just, ever since I was with the Colts at holiday time, I bring an 18-wheeler of food for the needy. And so I even though I don't play here anymore, I've just always maintained that tradition. I go, dude, that's unbelievable. Can I put you on the radio? And he says, nah, man, that would be doing it for the wrong reason. And look, I get it. I mean, he would be the first to tell you that he had circumstances against him that were difficult when he was drafted by the Colts, and he would be the first to tell you that some of those were self-inflicted. But I'm telling you, if you want to know the definition of loyal friend, as an adult, I can't speak for what he was like when he was at Warren or Purdue or whatever else. As an adult, if you want to know the definition of a true loyal friend, Jeff George.
I'm not going to pretend to say that I know Jeff George at all, Jake, but I have heard a very similar story along those lines about a relationship where years have passed, this person going through kind of a grieving moment in their life, and all of a sudden Jeff George showed up.
Totally would not surprise me at all.
Time for a morning check down here. Kevin and Corey.
The Morning Checkdown.
Omaha!
Brought to you by QC Kinetics, relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Sam was on that.
He was, man. That was strong, Sam. Sam Fritz is coming out of the gate strong.
Talk about timing there. Man, rich strike like at the line.
Last night, Jim Irsay on an airplane said something about awakening from a dream. The Reds did exactly that because the Brewers beat them 5-4. Dream's over.
Yeah, 5-4, Jay. You know, close losses here should count for something. The Cubs lose a close one to the Padres 5-4. White Sox beat the Guardians. The Tigers split a doubleheader. The big news last night in Major League Baseball, a no-no. Reid Detmers of the L.A. Angels. 12-0. They win the game. 108 pitches for Detmers, just 2 strikeouts. What do you think? That's got to tie one of the fewest amount of strikeouts in a no-no?
Yeah, I mean, you would think you usually get at least, 6, 8 of them, right?
And I get it. Your pitch count gets higher. You don't want to strike out too many guys to stay in the game. But he had a walk in the 6th. That's where the perfect game was lost, but a no-hitter for him. And before last night, Jake, his longest career outing was 5 innings. Hearing that, I'm glad they left him in. Again,
Yeah.
I mean, former top 10 pick, there's all the reasons probably to take him out of the game, but finally we see someone stick with that.
By the way, Indianapolis Indians over the Charlotte Knights last night, 15-3.
All right, last night in the association, the 1 seeds absolutely roll. The Heat by 35 over the Sixers and the Suns by 30 over the Mavericks. The Suns-Mavericks game was actually close at half, and then Phoenix just dominated the third quarter, 33-14. So a chance for both of those teams to clinch their spots in their respective conference finals in Game 6. Those will be tomorrow night. Tonight, we've got a couple of Game 5s. It'll be Boston back at home after their thrilling win over Milwaukee the other night. That series is at 2-2. And Golden State going for the clincher in Memphis. They are up 3-1. And unfortunately, Jake, Ja Morant doubtful for the rest of the playoffs.
Bone bruise in his knee. I'm going to go again with hockey because people have been clamoring for hockey. Hurricanes over Boston 5-1. Carolina leads 3-2. These are all, of course, playoff series. It was Toronto over Tampa. Toronto leads 3-2. The Blues now a 3-2 leader over Minnesota because they beat them last night by a score of 5-2. And the LA Kings over the Oilers. Kings lead that series 3-2.
Jake, no one like Scotty Johnston. How many no-hitters do you think have had 0 strikeouts in Major League Baseball?
I will say it has never happened. That's the easy
Sam,
answer.
you want to chime in here? How many career no-hitters do you think have had 0 strikeouts in the history of Major League Baseball?
I have to say something other than I don't think it's happened, although that would be my guess too. But for the sake of diversity, I will say 2 have happened.
Okay.
A dozen.
Really?
Wow.
I mean, I guess there have been a lot of no-hitters, but...
And every time I'm just reminded how long Major League Baseball is.
Okay.
I mean, Scotty's like, Whitey
you know what
Ford's
they say.
great-grandfather through the first no-hitter. And
You know what they say? Cincinnati Reds were the very first franchise, Kevin. Who did they play? So let me ask you this. Do you consider a combined no-hitter a no-hitter? I mean, it is, but, do you get excited?
It doesn't hold the same magnitude for me. Nope.
Okay, what about this?
I can't do it.
Okay, if you were at a game... Do they do this where they, for the Indianapolis Indians, on a doubleheader, they go 7 innings instead of 9? If a guy throws a no-no through 7.
I'm sorry. I can't. I got standards to hold.
Okay.
I got standards to hold. Shout out here, Butler alum. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. Ryan Pepio making his MLB debut with the Dodgers today.
Pretty cool.
As their starting pitcher, also a Westfield product. I know Sean tweeted us earlier, and John Dedman over there at Butler just texted me that. So a Butler baseball connection, not something we typically have here on the morning show. And shout out to the Fever. 82-76, they win over the Minnesota Lynx. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the few returnees still in a prominent role with 26. Also, yesterday it was announced that Sarah Fisher, pace car driver, is that correct?
That is correct, and it is a Chevrolet Corvette is the pace car.
And she typically does it.
She does. Oriole Servia is the full-time pace car driver, and she has split time with Servia doing it, and if Servia has other obligations, she is the pace car driver for the other races throughout the course of the series. So, she is the fastest female qualifier in Indy 500 history, by the way. Sarah Fisher.
What was that? Did I see 9th? Was that where she qualified one year?
Does
that sound right?
That sounds right. 229, I know that. 229 average.
We're getting some Colts conversation when we come back here. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Skip the long lines and high cost at the banks and get pre-approved today for your next home purchase or a refinance at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
And sign up to win a maple tree. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
The Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership helps people turn their successful rental history into an affordable home loan. Learn more about this innovative program at inhp.org.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer, so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club. Woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Dear driver, thank you. Thank you for slowing down when you saw the orange cones and road construction signs. My husband is one of those road workers. And today, you saved his life. If you hadn't slowed down, you would have missed that lane change, driven right into the work zone, and you would have killed him. Because you were driving differently. He'll be at our son's Little League game this weekend. He'll be there to walk our daughter down the aisle. He'll be out there tomorrow, making Indiana's roads safer. Thank you.
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Ward Daniels, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hubler has all the top brands: Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, Acura, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and more. And every new vehicle includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Looking to sell your vehicle? We'll pay you top dollar, even if you don't buy ours. Take it from Brooke Hubler.
You can get a car anywhere, but you can only get a warranty like this at Hubler. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Visit drivehubler.com. Warranty available on new vehicles except certain models, not transferable or available on leases. Copy of the warranty is available for review at the dealership.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Greg Cosell. Alec Pierce. You like?
Loved Alec Pierce. I didn't think there was much difference at all between Alec Pierce and Drake London based on my tape study. Over 6'3", he's 211. He's fast. He makes contested catches. He's a red zone weapon. I really, really liked his tape, and I watched him very early in the process. I came away thinking, wow, this guy's a really, really good prospect.
Dan Dockage. Weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
27 minutes before the hour. My name is Jake Query. Kevin Bowen, the other voice you hear in this program. Mark Dyke used to work with us, but he apparently quit, so Sam Fritz is capably filling in on the board. Mark heading to Red River Gorge. Should I not say, Mark, can I say where your vacation spot is going to be? I just did.
Yeah, too late.
We just got an email, Kevin. I don't know if we're supposed to announce this or not. They're probably going to be upset with me. The building's decided they're going to do and this is important, don't get me wrong, a fire drill. They're going to test all the fire equipment, the sirens and the smoke machines and
Man, I used
ladders.
to love those
and,
in elementary.
Wonderful.
Such a great time to get outside.
Yeah, they're going to do that apparently sometime between 7 and 10 a.m. Right?
Today?
I don't know what day did it say it's going to do it. Do we need to?
A little awkward.
Let's see.
I thought I saw tomorrow.
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 Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Early.
We don't know what time this is happening, but we know it'll be between 7 and 10 a.m. Okay. Well,
and mainly on the 6th floor.
Now, what does this mean? The smoke doors will close. What does that mean? Do we know what the smoke doors are? What are those?
Can't say I've been exposed to those. Should I know those?
I feel as though those are doors that would allow smoke to stay out of a room. So if for whatever reason you can't get out,
wouldn't that be any door?
Well, no, smoke can enter through door cracks. Now, granted, yeah, we have the luxury of being in a radio station where these are some thick doors, but
extremely thick. You try opening these doors. Whew, it's a little work out there.
Okay. Well, the smoke doors are closing.
We're going to get the Titans perspective.
How long is this taking place? Do we know how long this drill is?
There, elementary typically wasn't too long. As long as you got boy girl in line, you were in and out and back inside.
Do you ever think about the lunacy of the fact that did you ever do the tornado drills where you had to sit under your desk and cover your head with your hands?
Oh yeah.
What was that going to do?
Well,
have you ever thought about that?
You just wait. You get a little rumbling going, and all of a sudden, your hands over your neck are going to save you.
I guess there had to be a method to the madness of some sort, I guess, or a reason for it. But
we'll get to the Titans here with Turron Davenport at 9:00. The A.J. Brown trade, the Ryan Tannehill comments. Are you surprised at all how big of a favorite the Colts are in Vegas right now, given that Tennessee won the division by? What was it? Was it 3 games last year? 4 games? I mean, Derrick Henry didn't play half the season.
And that's what's crazy, Kevin, to Tennessee's credit, is the fact that it felt like they kind of backpedaled their way into that divisional title.
Can you really backpedal your way into the number 1 overall seed in the conference?
That's what I mean. Like, it almost feels like it wasn't so much that they went out and just grabbed it and ran away with it as much as the Colts just couldn't get out of their own way, right? But yeah, the fact that everyone else seemingly imploded down the stretch, and so they just were kind of left still standing and ended up as the 1 seed. Now, I do think, I think the world of Derrick Henry as a player. I don't know him as a guy, but you are correct. It is easy to forget that he wasn't there for the vast majority of it, right?
6-3. The 9 games without Henry.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. Really impressive.
Okay, this is going to sound, in my head, it sounds a little crazy, so feel free to call me out. Better chance for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC this year. The Chiefs or the Colts?
Oh, the Colts. Not even close. Better chance for the number 1 overall seed? The Colts could be 2 games better than Kansas City and then go to Arrowhead and lose by 14 because of the Chiefs division. I mean, the Colts have if you were a betting man, you would put it on the Colts because the Colts get to play Houston twice, they get to play Jacksonville twice, and they probably split with Tennessee. Boom, there's 5. The Chiefs have got to go and play.
You think the Colts are built to win 13? Whatever it takes?
13 for the number 1 overall seed?
What was it last year? Sam, will you look up Tennessee's schedule? I feel like Tennessee might have been 12-5.
I think the better contender for the number 1 overall seed would be Buffalo, right?
But that AFC East, you don't want to sleep on that division.
I mean, New England's good, obviously.
No one with a more active offseason than Miami, I would say, in helping Tua.
Did the Jets scare you?
No, but I would say a good draft.
I mean, the Jets could make a step and be competent.
Miami's won 9 and 10 games each of the last 2 years and added Tyreek Hill and made several other moves that I think are
Cincinnati
notable.
I mean, does Baltimore? I guess never really goes away. Cleveland's
Pittsburgh never goes away.
Yeah, I mean, but
how did they win, Sam?
12-5. You're right.
What was the if you have the NFC? What was their? Who was it? Green Bay. They won. Hell, they had to have won.
Yeah, as a Packers fan, I can tell you for certain they were the conference for the NFC, yeah.
Sorry.
I just realized I shouldn't have announced that over Indianapolis radio.
Well, Mark, as a Bears fan, I think is coming behind you right now. Just got out of his chair to play that. Jake, you go back to the Colts schedule, and again, it'll be announced tomorrow night. The schedule here in 2022. Earlier in the show, we went over our top 9 road trips. If you were a fan, so you can check that out on the podcast. If you had to rank the top 5 toughest games, home or away, for the Colts here in 2022. Again, AFC West, NFC East, your division games, and then at the Vikings is your extra game this year. Give me your top 5 toughest.
They play all the AFC West teams, right?
Yep, all 4 of them.
Those 4 and at Tennessee.
Order?
Well, you get Kansas City at home, which is a bit of a coup, right?
You see any drop in them with no Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, actually, yeah, now that you mention it. But, I mean, I think they're still really good. But
you would slot them as the favorite in the West still?
I think you know. I think the Chargers are. I think Denver, by the fact that you're going... Denver, if you're getting them early in the year, you might have a bit of a break there because Russell Wilson, new quarterback, you know what I mean? But if you get Denver late in the year, I think Denver's going to be pretty good. I don't know that they're going to be like elite, but I think they'll be pretty good. I do think the Chargers to me, and I don't know, Kevin, maybe I'm just going off of like watching them and being a little bit bedazzled by their ability to score points in bunches quickly and getting excited by that. But I think the Chargers last year felt like, and I realize this is, again, like being the tallest member of the Lollipop Guild, but the Chargers to me felt like the best non-playoff team of like the last 5 years. I mean, was there anybody late in the year that wanted to play the Chargers?
Gosh, remember that last game of the year? How back and forth and wild that game was. It was going to end in a tie with the Raiders, at one point. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do think the Chargers are ready. I think Justin Herbert is really, really good.
All right, I'll throw mine at you and tell me if you disagree. If I'm going the top 5 toughest games combined in the whole schedule, home and away, I will go 5th toughest. I'll go at Raiders. I'll put at Titans at number 4. Let's go home to the Chargers at 3. Let's put the Chiefs home game at 2. And let's go at Broncos 1.
Here's the thing, though. This time a year ago, would anybody have thought the Cincinnati Bengals were going to be the team to beat in the AFC?
No, I mean, no chance.
This time a year ago, did anybody think that going to Jacksonville was going to be a challenge?
Well, it's only for a challenge for one franchise.
This time a year ago, did people think that Buffalo was going to be the creme de la creme in the AFC? I think people thought they were going to take a step.
Mark and I, Buffalo in the Super Bowl, baby.
I mean, it's what I'm saying is there's so much that can happen from injuries to, you know what I mean?
Would you throw the Cowboys in that top 5 at Dallas?
No. I mean, how long are we going to do this with Dallas? Oh, the Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys haven't won a playoff game in how long?
Right, but I mean, they could still be one of your top 5 toughest games.
Yeah, I mean,
Dallas did win a division. Granted, it's not a loaded division, but what they win? I mean, they had to win 11, 12 games last year.
Yeah, but I get
it. January's different, but from a regular season standpoint, I mean, hell, remember last time the Colts were in Dallas? Oh, God. Pat McAfee fake punt and Dewey McDonald drops it and the Colts lose. I think it was 42-7 or something.
Smoke doors are doors that close when the fire alarm goes off. They prevent the spread of the fire. Are these smoke doors? Do we know? Or do we find that out tomorrow?
Sam was all over that.
So that's what it does. So there are only designated doors that do it, or all doors do it?
No, there's no way all doors do it, because I know in fire safety training there are some doors that smoke sneaks under.
You have some fire department history?
No, I do not. I just paid attention in school.
Is it a strategy is to channel the fire in a certain direction? Like, why would some rooms have a smoke door and others don't? What
I think it is to concentrate the fire, because if you cut off airflow, the fire eventually goes out.
Okay, so there's a strategy behind which doors are smoke doors. They don't determine for example, I'm betting $20 that the kids down at IBC have smoke doors to protect them. Up here, not so much, right?
Kids?
Well, yeah.
Tony Katz will be up here in no time with a comment like that.
That's my chair.
When you're laughing at inside jokes like this, it's hard for the audience to understand.
I realize that doesn't make for great radio, but Mark is still here and made an off-air comment that probably didn't go over the microphone and probably would have gotten us fired if it did. So, but it was funny.
Julio Jones or T.Y. Hilton. We'll get into that next here. Time for a break as Jake tries to recover. Turron Davenport, 9 o'clock, ESPN, covers the Titans, and Steph Wilson, the 33rd entry into the Indianapolis 500. He's going to join us later in the 9 o'clock hour.
Hi guys, are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, May 11th, we're doing something special. Pine Grove Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy, shown by Cambridge to repair blood vessels and get rid of ED at its core. If you're ready to put a stop to your erectile dysfunction, call us now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. And today only, we're offering 3 additional treatments to our patients free. This means that if you notice results fading, we'll retreat you free of charge. This is unprecedented and worth $650. Call today, Wednesday, and qualify free. 317-552-1111. That's 317-552-1111. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Pine Grove Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 317-552-1111.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to put extra cash in your pocket with a cash-out refinance from Golden Oak Lending.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today, while Golden Oak still has millions of dollars available.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Having a hard time finding a nice used vehicle? Not at the Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood Tent Sale. Over 200 repos, lease turn-ins, and local trades available starting at $99 a month. Cash cars from $995. Most with a Chomwood Lifetime Powertrain coverage. Bank reps on site for instant approval. All prices or payments displayed. No negotiating necessary. 4 days only, Wednesday through Saturday at Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood. Home of guaranteed credit. US 31 and stop 18.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? If so, we have some great news. There is finally a treatment for ED that requires no pills, no injections, and no surgery. This is the latest medical breakthrough for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic is proud to offer the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, which has been proven to increase blood flow, reverse ED, and increase size. Stop wasting your time with pills that produce side effects and have little to no results. Medical institutions at Cambridge University and Cleveland Clinic have shown this technology to be safe with no side effects. So if you're looking for a proven solution, call Indianapolis Men's Clinic today. They have performed over 12,000 treatments with outstanding results that can help you too. Call Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 317-999-9000. That's 317-999-9000 or at IndianapolisMen'sClinic.com.
This is May. Racing ignites May 14th with the GMR Grand Prix as the stars of the NTT IndyCar Series rip through the twists and turns of the IMS Road Course. The 21st and 22nd, drama, speed, and excitement with qualifying in the Fast 9. Then Indy's biggest party, Miller Lite Carb Day, returns with Kings of Chaos and Rick Springfield on the 27th. And all roads lead to the 106th running of the Indy 500 presented by Gainbridge on Sunday, May 29th. Come back home again. Tickets at IMS.com.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub full of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa hot tubs are the only hot tubs on the market that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Made right here in Indiana, Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Visit any one of our 3 Indianapolis locations or visit royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Hey, it's Jake Query. Wendy's has one kind of breakfast, a better one. Start your day with a Wendy's sausage, gravy, and biscuit. We're talking savory grilled breakfast sausage and a creamy Southern-style black pepper gravy served on top of a warm, freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Your home for the 2022 NBA playoffs and the NBA Finals. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Jake, maybe you and John earlier this week, or maybe John asked you, would you rather have Julio Jones or T.Y. Hilton for this season? What was, I kind of forget what you said. What was your answer to that?
I was saying that my buddy Mike Byron made the best point to me of I would go to Matt Ryan and say, hey, how many miles are left in Julio Jones? And if Matt Ryan says, that is a steal, you got to get him, then I'd go out and get him. If Matt Ryan says, I played with them and the brakes were whistling pretty loudly, then I'd go with T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, I also think, I guess to continue that analogy, Julio Jones has driven a few more exits since Matt Ryan last saw him.
Yeah.
Last year was bad. And we can ask Turron Davenport, I guess, next when we have him, about Julio. But just that hamstring injury last year just felt like he never got over that. And that's the difference between T.Y. and Julio, specifically last year, health-related. T.Y. had the neck injury early in the year, but at that age, I'd rather have the injuries upper body than lower body. I think when the lower body starts to go for a wideout, you get exposed real quick. I'd probably take T.Y. over Julio.
He's the known commodity for sure, right? I mean,
but not known to your quarterback.
Well, that's true, but I'm saying like they would know better than anybody what he has left, right?
Don't you need to kind of diversify that room? Talking height-wise, skill set-wise, you can't just have a bunch of power forwards out there playing wideout.
Well, that's
nice to have a couple from a jump ball
feels
standpoint.
Like what Julio Jones is, right?
Right. I just think you're getting a little bit too much of a 6'3", 6'4", let's just throw jump balls all day, where there's a reason why some slot guys can be very effective in the NFL. Now, debating T.Y. Hilton's effectiveness at 32, it's fine. But I think if that's the debate to me, I'm going T.Y. over Julio. And I don't necessarily think the Colts would agree with that. We'll have to see how it plays out. But that's where I would go.
I mean, when would you anticipate that we're going to know whether or not T.Y. Hilton's back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Chris Ballard acted like in the next week or so, post-draft. Well, here we are. Nothing on that front yet. The whole veteran signings this time of year is just kind of interesting. I mean, if you're a veteran, why would you, I don't know, maybe you want to be in a spring camp for OTAs and minicamp just to kind of get acclimated. But devil's advocate would say just hold off until training camp. Wait till some team suffers a big injury at wideout. Now they're a little bit more desperate, and instead of getting $2 million on your deal back in May, you might get $4 million on it in August. I could see it happening now. I could see it happen. I think you make reasons why it would happen in August.
Do you find it curious that T.Y. Hilton would be available?
That he's still in the market?
Yes.
Right now? Not overly. Again, when you get to that age with those veterans, Justin Houston was signed this time last year. Eric Fisher's probably more health related, but sometimes these guys just takes a little bit more time, and it's kind of a two-way street. No real need to rush it. But I still think a veteran signing at wide receiver is needed. The oldest.
Here's the thing. What veterans are out there to sign?
Well, there are names. You could make the argument that they're aging names.
See, that's the thing. I mean, at this point, right?
What about Jarvis Landry?
That's a pretty big drop-off. If you look at his numbers, pretty big drop-off.
Do you need some professionalism? Do you need some leadership? Do you need some been there in that room?
If you don't have T.Y. Hilton, probably, right? Because who would it be? I mean,
does Reggie Wayne give enough of that?
Well, that's a good point.
Who's the oldest Colts skill player? I should say the longest tenured Colts skill player. Running back, wide out, tight end.
Mo Alley Cox. If you're not talking T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah, T.Y.'s not on the roster.
Is it Mo Alley Cox?
Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah.
I mean, your oldest wideout, Jake, is 25-year-old Kiki Kuti. 25 years old? I would want someone that, again, knows the grind, realizes what it takes to make it through an NFL season. My expectations are not that person is going to give you legit number 2 wideout production, but there's just a little bit of a calming factor of that can help these young players realize what it takes to try and play at a consistently high level in the NFL.
By the way, I did a Twitter survey yesterday on cereal, and people were really bad-mouthing Cap'n Crunch. Do you like Cap'n Crunch?
I'm not like I wouldn't stand on a table for it, but I wouldn't mind a bowl of it.
Okay, here were the cereals that, if you had to pick of these 6.
This sounds like a Mark Dykton poll.
Dykton chimed in on this, actually. Of these 6, if you've got to pick one to eat the rest of your life and the other you never again get to eat, which one would you pick for each?
Okay.
And the 6 options are Count Chocula, Golden Grahams, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles, and Cap'n Crunch.
Oh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's
easy.
For which one? For which answer?
What I eat for the rest of my life.
Okay, now which one are you booting out? Count Chocula, Golden Grahams, Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles, Cap'n Crunch?
Probably Count Chocula.
Mark is apparently still here. I can hear him, but I just can't see it. Look, he's suddenly smirking around the mic. I've never seen you get so heated, Mark.
Well, Mark, I can get chocolate in, other avenues with other meals. I don't need it at breakfast.
Well, my thing with Jake's poll was the Captain Crunch was the peanut butter flavored. It was no crunch berries at all. So I'm booting that.
Wait, Captain Crunch is not peanut butter flavored.
Well, what's the flavor you posted?
Just regular Captain Crunch.
Well, it was no crunch berries, so no thank you. So I passed that one out. And then Count Chocula, you can only get it seasonally now. This is some inside information here. It's only available during the Halloween season.
What about Frankenberry? Are you
Same. Blueberry. There are a whole lot of them. You can't get them till like mid-September.
So that is created in you. But here's the thing, Mark. You get to eat it you have to eat it for the rest of your life.
Right. So that's why I chose Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Count Chocula was in my wheelhouse as a kid, but now that I can get it seasonally, it's not one I'd like to eat every day.
I think
but
underrated.
I will eat it every so often.
Underrated on this list. Now, I will tell you, I have no off switch with Fruity Pebbles. None. You put none. Fruity Pebbles are, but Golden Grahams, very underrated.
I'm going to
Golden
go
Grahams
home.
is very good.
I'm going to go home tonight, look at Rosie and say, Rosie, you find someone in your life that loves you as much as my friend Mark Dykton loves cereal.
For real. But what about Cocoa Puffs, Mark?
Ooh, yes, please.
Really?
Cocoa Puffs gets it done, yeah.
I've never seen you like this.
Yeah.
Cinnamon Life?
I don't know what that is. Cinnamon Life?
You've never had Cinnamon Life?
No.
Is that even a thing? I don't know what that is.
The hell?
I'm not familiar with that either.
You claim to be a cereal enthusiast and you don't know what
I've
Cinnamon
never heard
Life
of
is?
Cinnamon Life.
Are you kidding me? You know what Life is, right?
Well, you talking about Life cereal?
Yes. Apparently,
I've heard
you
of
need to
Life
get
cereal,
one.
but
How
I've
do you
never
not
heard
know
of
what Cinnamon Life is?
Yeah, I'm with Mark. I didn't know they're alternate brands.
Yeah.
Apple Jacks?
I see Life cereal and I pass it by immediately. I'm like, no, thank you.
What?
I don't have time for that.
They're not Kicks.
Oh, Kicks are terrible too.
We'll get an update on the dysfunction in
Frosted
Nashville
Mini Wheat?
next here.
Terrible.
Turron Davenport, did he see anything left in the tank for Julio? A.J. Brown related, Ryan Tannehill. And does he agree with how Vegas looks at the AFC South right now? We'll do that next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Rick, my bad on your wake. Go ahead. Thanks for the call. Hello, Rick.
I think he's snoring. I think he might be sleeping.
Race Trash, anything goes. 239-1070. Rick, are you awake?
Hello.
Hey, Rick, are you awake?
I am.
All right. You haven't been, have you?
No, I can't doze off there in a minute.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 till 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
springtime in Indy. The home really took a hit this winter. Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41. So don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino.
CarX Tire and Auto, 14 Central Indiana locations, one near you to help maintain your summer road readiness from AC, brake pads, tires, and more. It's CarX.com today.
You've likely heard the news. The Fed announced they've raised interest rates, and it probably won't be the last time, but there's still time to act. The good news is Golden Oak Lending has millions of dollars available to lend. Home financing has a language all its own, but Golden Oak Lending speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. For example, refinancing today means you'll save on your mortgage, make no payments for 2 months. Golden Oak's experienced local loan officers are always local. They know the Indy market and make refinancing and buying a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon and numbers. Plus, with home value spiking, your home is worth more than you think. You can use this to your advantage by locking in Golden Oak's low rates and find out how much cash you can pull out of your home. Getting started couldn't be easier with Golden Oak's free mortgage checkup. It's risk-free. There's no paperwork or credit card required. Their average cash-out customer saves $904 a month. So call 317-706-GOLD or head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity can do for you. NMLS 114937.
West Liquors is all ready for the warm weather and your outdoor activities with plenty of options under $20. Southern Comfort variety packs are only $4.69. Mom Water 4-packs, $8.99. You can pick up Crown Royal cocktails for only $12.99. St. Elmo's canned cocktails, $14.99. And 18 packs of the 16-ounce cans from Coors Light and Bud Light are only $19.99. Payless has 26 family-owned locations, including 30th and Georgetown, Rockville Road, and Lafayette Road to take care of you race fans. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Having a hard time finding a nice used vehicle? Not at the Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood Tent Sale. Over 200 repos, lease turn-ins, and local trades available starting at $99 a month. Cash cars from $995. Most with a Chomwood lifetime powertrain coverage. Bank reps on site for instant approval. All prices or payments displayed. No negotiating necessary. 4 days only, Wednesday through Saturday at Chomwood Used Cars of Greenwood. Home of guaranteed credit. US 31 and stop 18.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Go trackside with Kurt Cavan and Kevin Lee. Weeknights at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query.
What the hell are you doing, John? Come back and get it. Charlie, come back toward the ball. If he's coming, I'm going to engage him, and then I'm going to slip out into the screen.
Concentrate, get better. Say to yourself, I got to get better.
On 93.5
Oh, baby!
and 107.5, The Fan.
Kevin, are you ready for screaming school buses without the roof on them of bachelorette parties, all jumping up and down singing Miley Cyrus like they're the first ones to ever do it?
Well, you might sing along.
I do like
Party in
that
the
song.
USA is one of your favorites.
Because that's what happens when you go to Nashville. You go to Nashville, lots of bachelorette parties, lots of people on Broadway that think they're the first ones that have been there. Great city, though. So we're going to go to Nashville right now, right?
We are, yes. Turron Davenport from ESPN.com covers the Titans. We've had him on before. Does an outstanding job, and we always appreciate his time with us. It's been an eventful few weeks there for the Titans. He's with us now. Good morning, Turron.
Good morning.
I want to go back, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, to Thursday night of the draft. I thought the Colts' biggest win of the draft was the trade of A.J. Brown. Your level of surprise when you saw that trade to the Eagles?
Yeah, I was really surprised because up until that point, the different conversations that I had with both sides had all indications pointing towards a deal. But 3 weeks before that, things really broke down.
Was this strictly financial? Basically, the Brown camp setting a price and John Robinson and Mike Vrabel feeling like the Titans would never meet that?
Yeah, it wasn't so much Mike Vrabel as it was the GM, John Robinson, their contract negotiator, Vin Marino. It was something that they couldn't come to an agreement to, and it was really hurt by the Christian Kirk situation. And then as you saw the market explode, A.J. Brown wanted to be paid accordingly, and there was a number that the Titans had, and they weren't going beyond it. And after that, the trade was demanded.
So, Turron, in your opinion, I mean, listen, you're talking about a dynamic talent. Did they simply salvage what they could get out of it, or is there any chance that Tennessee, at the very least, maintained status quo or even became a better football team?
I don't know that you become a better football team by getting rid of one of your most explosive players. They more or less were stuck in a situation where there was a deal they couldn't agree to. So the Eagles came in, they pounced, and coincidentally, the Titans were able to get a player who has A.J. Brown-like ability in Treylon Burks. But that ability was showcased on the collegiate level. So we don't know how that's going to be in the NFL, so I can't say that they've gotten better. But they did what they could to maintain some level of offensive efficiency from a passing standpoint.
Did they, sometimes, and I have no idea, Turron Davenport is our guest. I have no idea if this is the case with A.J. Brown. There are times where guys, and maybe they nipped this in the bud early with this move. Was he in any way, shape, or form like an addition by subtraction, I guess is what I'm getting at. I mean, a guy.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So he was not the diva type.
His energy on the field during practice was very evident. His energy in the locker room, there were no issues. Guys loved him on the team, and Mike Vrabel himself, was pretty beat up at the idea of losing A.J. Brown. So that lets you know there weren't any issues.
It's Turron Davenport from ESPN.com. You guys have heard him on our airwaves before. It's at @TDavenport_NFL on Twitter. Turron, even before the A.J. Brown trade, those in Vegas had the Colts as the AFC South favorite this year. The difference, I should say, between the Colts and the Titans has only grown with those odds since the A.J. Brown trade. Are you surprised, and do you think those in the Titans facility would be, to see how different it is between the Colts being the clear favorite and the AFC South in Vegas?
I'm not surprised, because what does Vegas do? It acts on emotion and acts on impulse. So a lot of people who see A.J. Brown going to the Eagles, they're going to say, okay, well, the Titans are done. I mean, I did it myself the night of the draft, and then I sat and thought about it, and I said, well, it actually isn't that bad for them. So I'm not surprised. Frankly, the people in the locker room, the building, they don't care. So I don't think that they're either interested enough to be surprised or expect that either way.
When you look at obviously the drafting of a quarterback, that I want to touch on, or for our listeners, let them know that may not follow it, what happened with Ryan Tannehill in terms of, did he handle it the right way, the wrong way? And I hate to say what's going on with Ryan Tannehill, but I'll ask it in simply those terms. Is there any volatility there?
No, there's no volatility there. He could have handled it better by saying, I'm willing to help him, but it's not my job. But I don't think there's any volatility whatsoever. He has some things that he was working on as far as family-wise and his house, and he didn't come to the first couple weeks, the voluntary portion of OTA. And it was approved by Mike Vrabel. Coach Vrabel came out and spoke about it. He said that the excuse or the reason is acceptable, and that's pretty much what it is. He's in the building working and doing what he has to do to get on the same page, to start getting on the same page with new targets and Robert Woods, Treylon Burks, Austin Hooper. So I don't think there's any issues. I mean, Nick Westbrook-McKinney, one of the wide receivers, I asked him about Tannehill as a leader, and he talked about how Tannehill pushes everybody in the building in different ways, whether it's conditioning in the weight room, in the film room. So I think that's pretty much all you need to know as far as what's going on. And, I mean, players, they're not phony. You're going to be able to know if they feel a guy's a leader or not, and that's not something that we're getting when we speak to guys in on the team.
Do you believe that Malik Willis was drafted by Tennessee because they looked at it and said, okay, this is the guy that we're going to transition towards, or was it simply, hey, at this point, this guy is too good a talent to pass on, so let's go ahead and pluck it and we'll figure it out later?
It's a combination of the two, because when I asked John Robinson at the Combine about drafting a quarterback of the future, he said that the real situation for them, the ideal situation, is to be able to have one of the top guys available to them at the back end of the first round. That's typically where they're drafted. Well, they had, in my opinion, the top quarterback, and many opinions, top three available at the third. They moved up a few picks, and they selected him. He fits what they like to do as far as, having a mobility from a quarterback, having the quarterback on the move. That's what they do in their offense. So he fits, and he's a dynamic player. So, yeah, there was a value there that they couldn't pass up, so they moved up and they grabbed him.
Do you think they believe that Malik Willis could be their starter in 2023?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They believe that he could be their starter next year. But the plan is to have him come in and develop him. I think, when you look at how they spoke about Willis the night that he was drafted, that's what they stuck to. It's all about developing and bringing him along. And the timeline, as far as when he could start, they said it's up to him and how he comes in and absorbs the playbook and gets, familiar and assimilated into the program. And that's really what it's about for any player. But that tells me that, they're confident in him. They love his playmaking ability.
From ESPN.com, he is Turron Davenport. Does a great job covering the Titans and is with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Turron, given Matt Ryan and his prior relationship with Julio Jones, there's been a debate here in Indy. Do you bring in Julio? It's a Colts wideout core that has very little proven talent. We just had a debate, Julio, T.Y. Hilton, certainly different body types. What did you see from Julio Jones last year dealing with that hamstring injury?
Well, it was kind of like a week-to-week process for him, and it was tough because he wasn't out there as much, so it was difficult to build that chemistry with the quarterback. He wasn't able to go full. You could tell that he wasn't, fully himself, whether that's because he was dealing with the injury or because there's not much left. It's hard to get a gauge on that, but it's just his style of running. It's very violent. He puts a lot of torque on his body. So I would say that he's more susceptible to injury in the future, and especially at 33 years old. So, there wasn't really an opportunity to see much because this guy was, in and out of the lineup, literally during practice and the games.
What is the biggest question mark? Like, if you are Vrabel, what's keeping him up at night? What's the biggest question mark of the offseason, not including the A.J. Brown story, for Tennessee?
I think probably the offensive line, who's going to play left guard and who's going to play right tackle. That, in my opinion, is the biggest thing, and that leads you to everything because losing Roger Saffold, that was one of their best run blockers. A lot of the runs that Derrick Henry had, Saffold sprung them at the second level. And then the right tackle position, it's not as big of a loss losing David Quesenberry, but you don't have a cemented starter there. So that's something they're going to have to figure out. And I'm sure a lot of those sleepless nights are connected to the 29th pick in the 2021 draft, and that's Isaiah Wilson, because they thought they had their answer to right tackle, but it turns out has issues and things that he wasn't able to work out. He's not even in the league anymore.
Turron, speaking of the O-line, and not to get too deep into the roster, but the Colts signed Dennis Kelly yesterday, and he was in Tennessee for quite some time. Am I correct in saying mainly a right tackle, though, down there in Tennessee? The Colts have a big question at left tackle.
He started a full season at right tackle, but he played plenty of games at left as well when Taylor Lewan was out, and he did a solid job there. So he did both.
I'm telling you, man, I've said forever, it's great to have like a Roger Saffold, for example, or, like the Colts had for years in Costanzo. It's great to have guys that or Quentin Nelson, that you know exactly where they are. But, man, Turron, there's something to be said for Swiss Army knife offensive linemen, right, that you can put at multiple positions and just plug and play for gaps for 2-3 games. Like, there's a value in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why guys like, Dennis Kelly have long careers. Because you could play them pretty much anywhere. I mean, he could play guard if he wanted him to. He's done it before, so definitely value to that.
Tron, before we let you go and appreciate your time, anything surgery-related for Derrick Henry in the offseason? Is he doing spring work, or what's kind of the status on him right now?
Oh, yeah, he's already started his work. He's getting that stuff in and doing a great job. You can see some of his workouts on Instagram. He likes to post those from time to time. And it's not just the workouts, because he's big on recovery, too. There's a local place here in Nashville that he goes to, and that really is a big part of what he does as far as getting ready for the season and making it through the season. So as of right now, all things go for Derrick Henry, and that's a great thing for the Titans.
Again, got hurt in that Halloween meeting, which really ended any hope for the Colts in winning the division. Granted, for Tennessee, despite losing him, they still went 6-3 the rest of the way, the number 1 seed last year. Tron, I know you got a busy night tomorrow night with the NFL schedule release. Hopefully things will quiet down a little bit for you, and you can enjoy the summer. And love to have you back on in the fall when the Colts and Titans meet up.
Yeah, for sure. Keep me posted. We'll definitely get on there.
I love it. Turron Davenport right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. Again, NFL schedule release tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. When those Titans games are, we'll draw some eyes. Remember, Jake, when it used to kind of be Colts and Texans as the two teams in the AFC South, they always seemed to play like a mid-December game that decided the winner of the division.
It feels like, you are correct, it also feels like with Tennessee, it's always like early, right? When I think of the Colts going to Tennessee, I always think of it being like one of those really pretty, like early autumn days, you know?
I was going to say, I feel like it's a September, October. I know they played there on Thursday Night Football once. And remember a few years ago, it was the final game of the season. The winner got in the playoffs. They flexed it to Sunday Night Football.
That. I forgot all about that, yeah.
Boy, one of the highlights of Andrew Luck's career individually, a touchdown to Dontrell Inman on a 3rd and goal to open up that game. And really, the Colts dominated. That was the year the Colts went down to Houston.
What was the signature moment of Andrew Luck's career?
Oh,
to me, it's
Superman stretch.
It's got to be it, right?
Yeah.
The pickup fumble, yeah.
Yeah, the comeback. Yeah, definitely.
What do you think he's doing right now?
He is he's waiting for Brooks and Brews to open up, and he's going to go read a book on Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
He might be changing Lucy's diaper.
I mean, what a life, man.
Maybe dropping Lucy off at daycare. Who knows?
Take my $25 million. Thanks for the parting gift, right?
Lucy Luck. Do you like that name? Kind of like it.
Yeah, it's cool. I was wondering, is your daughter named after the Reds female mascot?
When you first started that, I thought to myself, is he going to ask me if Rosie's named after Marge Schott? I was wondering, female Reds. I was like, oh, boy.
I didn't realize that Mr. Redleg's like companion, the female version, is Rosie.
Yeah. No, I can't say that's what Maddie and I were really thinking with that.
Okay,
but if the Reds get hotter, good. I mean, if there's a kid number 2 or number 3, we might have to incorporate that.
Don't look now, but here come the Red Legs.
Can I tell you something that's probably not a popular opinion and it makes me sound like a jerk?
1, 2 of 3 and just lost by 1 last night, so they are hot.
Whenever I see people that get engaged on the Jumbotron at sporting events, I root for them to get divorced. Or for the woman to just say no.
I saw that happen at the Dueling Pianos place.
I'm always wondering if those are staged. The no's.
Yes.
They are staged?
Yes.
You
saw somebody
more and more
engaged,
they're getting staged.
You saw somebody get engaged at the Dueling Piano place?
Yeah. Why am I blanking on the name?
Howl at the Moon?
Howl at the Moon, yeah.
That's not terrible. I mean,
no, it was during, he got on stage, went to propose, and she ran to the bathroom and cried. And everybody's like, ooh.
Oh, wait a minute.
Boy,
so
that doesn't sound nice.
You saw a no.
Yeah, I saw a no.
It's one of those things where he's probably thinking, man, I got a 50-50 shot at it.
This is awkward.
Do you think it was staged?
No. What would you stage for?
So wait,
it's like 100 people in there.
She ran away crying?
Yeah.
Did you?
And her friend ran after her.
Did you get more information?
No. I drank my Miller Lite or whatever I was drinking at the time. I was like, well, that sucks.
All right, and now on the piano we're playing Bad Days by Daniel Powder to get everybody.
I think the guy went into like Meatloaf or something. Like, Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Who wants?
Wait, the guy was it a patron or one of the
It was a
performers?
patron, yeah. It was a customer.
And what
He's like, I want to dedicate this song to my girl. And they brought her on stage, and oh boy.
Man. Wait, now, was it a 50-50 couple? Was he out kicking the coverage? Was she, you know what I mean?
Boy, you're asking me to try to remember in dim lighting and like a drunken state what she looked like. I have no idea.
Now, to that guy's defense, I always think, about those people that do the public engagements. If you're a little nervous about it and you think she might not say yes, do the public one. Better chance she probably says yes.
That's a fabulous point. Here's the thing. And if you are, wouldn't
peer
you
pressure?
Wouldn't you say yes and deal with it later?
Oh, is that worse?
Yeah,
you told me yes in front of all those people?
Those random strangers?
The whole world?
It's better than telling me no in front of everybody, right?
Yeah,
I have learned long ago, and I probably hold a little bit of your sentiment, Jake, in that when I see him, I'm kind of like, really?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But I also say this. I will never judge someone on how they do a proposal.
That's fair.
It's emotions you've never really felt, different types of nerves, all that. So whatever route you choose, by all means.
Did anybody else go and console the girl, or maybe even flirt with her, who clearly was available?
I don't know.
Obviously, she became available, right?
After I saw that blank show, I was like, oh,
she actually is now married to one of the pianists.
What'd you say? You have to dump what you just said? I said pianist, right?
He did.
Oh, boy.
Is it time for a morning checkdown?
Please.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I guess we could just start here with my question, Jake. The announcement yesterday of Sarah Fisher as the pace car driver. Was that kind of a newsy to you? Was that just years past, Danica, Dale Earnhardt, Victor Oladipo? I don't know. I feel like I'm used to more of a celebrity, not necessarily always in the racing community.
Yeah, I was not surprised. Okay, how do I word this? I still don't know, or I have not gotten clarification. Sarah Fisher is obviously a wonderful name within the world of racing, the fastest female qualifier in the history of the event, so historic. But she also is a pace car driver. A couple of years ago was the full-time pace car driver for the series itself, and still does so. Oriol Servia is the pace car driver for the series, and she rotates in if Servia is unavailable. So I don't know whether that was, because it could be either way. I didn't know if that was in a dignitary role, or that was, we are not doing that this year, and so therefore Sarah Fisher will drive it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So we need a little clarification on that?
Yeah, because either one would be plausible, I guess.
Because typically, and again, please inform us how it works. Like, Victor Oladipo drove what lap?
Just the pre-race. So, well, I could get into a whole rabbit hole here, but Eldon Palmer was a car dealer who drove the pace car at the beginning of the race in 1971 and came screaming down the pit road and like way too fast and lost control and wiped out a photographer stand at the end of pit road, and all hell broke loose. And so then at that point they decided that they needed to have it be in terms of, if they were going to be at speed at race pace, which Eldon Palmer was not supposed to be, that they were going to, that they have a certified driver, like a competitive driver that from the past. So when they say like, hey, the pace car this year, I'll put it this way. Sarah Fisher will be the first pace car dignitary driver to not only do the pre-race, but stay in the car for the pace car responsibilities over the course of the race. The last person to do that was Duke Nalen. So
Oladipo would have peeled off right before the checker flag, or right before the green flag.
Correct, and then get out of the car. So when Oladipo did it, or when, I don't know if when Morgan Freeman did it, or Jim Caviezel, whatever. Yes, they do just the parade and the pace lap and everything else. And then when they pull in and the race begins, they get out, take photos, high five everybody, and at that point, Oriole Servia would have gotten in the car, or whoever it would have been when Servia was one of the drivers, Dario Franchitti or whoever else that
Johnny Rutherford, right?
Johnny Rutherford, yes. One of those would have
Wow,
done it.
so that's some So how fast do you think Victor was going?
130? By the time he pulls onto the keep in mind, when they come around getting ready to take the green, the pace car accelerates at that point, and the pace of the race is in the hands of the pole sitter.
Right.
Once he pulls off onto pit road.
And last year it was really jumbled, I remember.
Correct. So he is increasing his speed to pull away from the field, and then probably by the time he pulls onto the pit road, he's got it down to like 60 or 70, and then they break it pretty quickly. They train them. I mean, they have to.
Certainly, yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of practice that goes into it, and I'm not going to say any names as to who I've always been told was the biggest diva in terms of getting him to commit to the practice and go through the, like Morgan Freeman and others were like, absolutely, whatever you need me to do, this is great. And there apparently was one celebrity pace car driver that was a complete pain to everybody. And they were like, yeah, okay, that's probably the last time that guy's going to come around.
Do we get a hint?
He's not used to being on four wheels. That's your hint.
Oh, boy.
That's all I'll say.
Used to maybe a PED or two in his day?
I am not saying anything else.
Well, should we start the morning checkdown over again, Mark?
Sure.
Sorry about that.
That was a long segment.
Well,
right
I was curious, and Jake's mind was perfect for that, so that's why I asked that.
There you go.
We had a no-hitter last night. Reid Detmers, am I saying that right? Yes. Reid Detmers last night, 108 pitches for him, and he throws a no-no for the Angels, 12-0 over the Rays. Scotty Johnston with the great stat earlier of there's been 12 no-hitters that had no strikeouts. Man, that's a lot of balls in play to be relying on. Scotty, I'm wearing the same shirt today.
Well, aren't you guys twins?
Yours might be a little newer than mine.
Okay.
Shock's not a jersey.
It's nice. You guys are.
Reds lose 5-4. Cubs lose by 1. Tigers split a double header. Some of the scores yesterday.
Did you guys call each other last night? Did you call each other tomorrow?
We actually FaceTimed.
Want to wear the same shirt?
FaceTime. Made sure
Okay.
the color black was still the same.
NBA last night, it was the Heat over the Sixers. You didn't already mention this, did you, Kevin? I checked you out. 120-85 over the Sixers. Heat now lead 3-2 in the Eastern Conference semis. In the West, it was Phoenix over Dallas, 110-80. Suns now lead 3-2.
You go and close out tonight, Golden State?
Yes. Golden State closes out Memphis tonight. Ja Morant questionable for the remainder of the playoffs with a bone.
Doubtful.
Yeah, with a bone bruise in his knee. Does not sound comfortable. Boston, I think tonight's going to take a 3-2 lead over Milwaukee.
Shout out to the Fever. They get their first one of the season last night over the Lynx. All right, pop quiz time. Golden Gloves 4-pack up for grabs. Championship night tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. 317-239-1070. And still have Steph Wilson, 33rd entry into the 500. He's going to join us after the pop quiz.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Tickets are here, tickets are there, tickets are everywhere. Get your tickets to qualification, Carb Day, or the Indy 500 at IMS.com. Or head to 1075thefan.com/events.
You need a lawn care pro and a pest control pro. You can have both in one guy. You. DoMyOwn.com will help you get there with pro products, pro knowledge, and pro support. DoMyOwn.com for the pro in you.
Tony Katz here. Stay tuned for All American Heroes, a look at military history at the track, brought to you by HeroLoan.com.
The VA loan is one of the best benefits of being in the military. You can buy a home with no money down. You can refinance and cash out up to 100% of your home's equity. And interest rates are up to a full point lower than other loans. At HeroLoan.com, we want to earn your business. We pay for the appraisal and can close your VA loan in as little as 14 days. Get the loan you deserve and apply online today at HeroLoan.com. The only way to VA. NMLS number 1326241.
This is Jake Query of IndyCar Radio. Some 500 winners of yesteryear that served in a military uniform include Lee Wallard, Bob Swikert, Sam Hanks, Jimmy Bryan, Roger Ward, Bobby Unser, and Johnny Rutherford. During World War II, 1925 winner Peter DiPaolo and 1930 winner Billy Arnold both attained the rank of lieutenant colonel while serving in Europe.
HeroLoan.com, the only way to VA. today.
Looking for a job that puts you in the racing action at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Eclipse Staffing and Security is hiring for guest services, credential checking, gate and cooler checking, the snake pit, and private events. Earn great pay and be a part of the team that makes sure the greatest spectacle in racing goes off without a hitch. Work a flexible schedule. Contact Eclipse Staffing and Security, 317-426-3696, or email info@eclipsestaffing.com. That's info@eclipsestaffing.com.
Jake Query here for nextleveljobs.org. By the way, guys, officially finished the semester now. The grades are in. You ready? The grades are in. Can you believe this, Mark? The British horror films. It's my only non-A.
Wow.
What do you mean good?
Well, F.
Thank you. A in public relations, A in music therapy, B in British horror films, and my first semester back to complete my degree. Folks, listen, I am not in academia, so if I can do that, you can as well. And I would love for you to take a look at nextleveljobs.org to build a better future for free with Next Level Jobs. Next Level Jobs provides Hoosiers with free training and high-growth, in-demand fields. Things like IT and business services, always in demand. Building construction, health and life sciences. In as little as 150 hours, you can be certified in a number of different areas and even earn an associate's degree tuition-free. 700,000 Hoosiers have college credits out there that they never completed. I was one of them. If I can go back to school, you can as well, whether you're going back or whether you're simply wanting to start out for another opportunity within your career. Nextleveljobs.org is the resource for you. Please visit nextleveljobs.org for more information and how to apply.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle squeals or grinds when you slow down or just isn't stopping like it used to, you may need new brake rotors and pads. Now through May 24th at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore safe braking and save money now at O'Reilly Auto Parts or order online at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
All right, Kev, Steph Wilson's going to join us just a couple of minutes, so we'll do the pop quiz quickly here. Again, chance for tickets to the Golden Gloves, which is the real coup. As a matter of fact, if you are selected, you automatically get those tickets. And then, of course, the Jiffy Lube prize pack, Jiffy Lube, easy for me to say, prize pack. Kevin, you got a number?
Yeah, let's go with number 2.
Number 2. Steve, what's happening?
Hey, it's always great to be listening to you in the morning, Jake.
Now, Steve, I want to make sure that you're okay.
Steve that hates me, right?
Steve, have you made up with Kevin, Steve?
You know, I'm a little upset at Kevin because he hasn't told us how his sister-in-law's garden's growing. He had a big event Mother's Day, and I figured we'd get a report on how the sister-in-law's garden's going since he was so generous with the seeds at Christmas time.
As well. Beautiful, Steve. Thank you for asking. The neighbors have raved about it. The garden is immaculate. Tons of vegetables that they have nightly over there. So I appreciate that, Steve. Thank you for a follow-up on that of really one of the Christmas gifts of the century, to be honest with you.
Steve, your memory is impeccable. I
totally forgot about that.
I hope your memory serves you as well on the pop quiz, Steve. Are you ready here for question number 1?
I'm ready.
All right. Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer Bob Lanier, who has the biggest feats in basketball, according to his old beer commercial, passed away yesterday at the age of 73. At the time of his retirement, Lanier was the Detroit Pistons' career leader in points and rebounds. His franchise records were both surpassed by a pair of bad boy-era Pistons. Both of those gentlemen played collegiately for Indiana schools. Can you name the 2 players? One who is the all-time points leader for the Pistons, the other is the all-time rebounds leader for the Pistons. Both played collegiately in the Hoosier State.
Isaiah Thomas and Bob Lambert.
That works.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Rookie pitcher Reid Detmers threw a no-hitter for the Angels last night, Steve. The last pitcher to throw an individual no-no for the Angels. Nolan Ryan, Mike Witt, Jared Weaver, Irvin Santana.
Nolan Ryan.
This guy had some hair.
Did his hair have a weave?
The Weaver guy.
Okay, Steve.
All right, Steve.
Okay.
I see our relationship is getting a little bit better here.
Steve, Justin Verlander also flirted with a no-hitter last night, surrendering the only hit that he gave up with 1 out in the 8th. It was the 8th time in his career that Verlander would take a no-hitter to the 8th inning, the second most in Major League Baseball history.
Wow,
Nolan Ryan, who you just guessed, holds the record of 23 games in which he had a no-hit bid entering the 8th. Who is tied with Verlander at 8 such games and a former Indianapolis Indian? Sandy Koufax, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, or Walter Johnson?
Randy Johnson.
Okay.
Shrug from Scotty there. 18 days away from the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. The original name of the greatest spectacle in racing was what?
The 500-mile race.
A, the Indy 500, B, the Liberty Sweepstakes, C, the Indianapolis 500-mile Challenge, or D, the 500-mile International Sweepstakes?
I'm going to go with C.
You said C?
C, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Rip Sewell was born on this day in 1907. Household name. Sewell is credited with inventing the Ephus pitch, thank you. A slow, high-arching lob designed to catch the hitter off guard. He only gave up 1 home run in his career throwing this pitch. Unfortunately for him, it came in the 1946 All-Star Game, so film of the homer actually does exist. Can you name the guy who right now is actually hanging out in a freezer with Walt Disney that hit that home run? Was it Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, Joe Gordon, or Bobby Dorr?
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, okay.
All right, we got to go rapid fire here. Let's see how he did. The points leader for the Pistons, indeed, Isaiah Thomas.
That is correct.
Bill Laimbeer, the rebound leader from Notre Dame.
Jared Weaver, indeed, the answer for question number 2. And Randy Johnson was correct for question number 3.
All right,
Okay.
Steve's one slip up. The greatest spectacle in racing was originally not called the Indianapolis 500-mile Challenge. It was the 500-mile International Sweepstakes.
You blew it!
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
In my opinion, that sucked.
By the way, it became an international event in 1913 when Marmon and National in the first 2 years respectively declined to come back the next year. Carl Fisher went to Europe to begin recruiting international race teams to come. Jules Gu won in a Peugeot in 1913. Ted Williams was the answer for question number 5. Steph Wilson next, right, Kevin? The 33rd entry into the Indianapolis 500-mile race joins us on the program next.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? If so, we have some great news. There is finally a treatment for ED that requires no pills, no injections, and no surgery. This is the latest medical breakthrough for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic is proud to offer the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, which has been proven to increase blood flow, reverse ED, and increase size. Stop wasting your time with pills that produce side effects and have little to no results. Medical institutions at Cambridge University and Cleveland Clinic have shown this technology to be safe with no side effects. So if you're looking for a proven solution, call Indianapolis Men's Clinic today. They have performed over 12,000 treatments with outstanding results that can help you too. Call Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 317-999-9000. That's 317-999-9000 or at IndianapolisMen'sClinic.com.
One of the things I love about betting my favorite sports is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I like. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query, and what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine prop bets from multiple games and now even multiple sports. It's called Same Game Parlay Plus, and you can only find it on FanDuel Sportsbook. Combine NBA playoff player props you love with your favorite baseball home run hitters for a chance to score an even bigger payout. Here's one for tonight. Bucks on the money line and Giannis to score over 31.5 points. Plus, the Brewers taking on the Reds over 9 runs in that game, and Christian Yelich to have 1 hit in the game. A $10 bet with that will pay over $96. If you don't want to build your own same-game parlay, check out their popular same-game parlay section, where you can join the bets other users are jumping on. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code MARK to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Make every moment more and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Just use promo code MARK so they know I sent you, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
Realizing Geico has over 85 years of experience saving folks money and providing great customer service is like realizing there's a crumb tray on the bottom of your toaster, and you don't have to keep turning the toaster upside down to clean it.
How long has that been there? Hey, who needs some croutons?
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or realizing that baby carrots are just regular carrots that have been shaved down.
I don't care. They're still cute.
It's something you can't believe you never realized before. Like how Geico's 97% customer satisfaction rating means Geico is committed to providing the best service for their customers. Or how you can peel the top layer of tape off a lint roller and there's a fresh layer underneath.
Marcy, wait till you hear about the lint roller.
You mean how the handle is reusable?
Wait, what?
Trust. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
The Sundown Gardens Spring Open House is coming Saturday, May 21st, and the WIBC Saturday Home and Garden Show will be there. Patty cakes will be there. You can win door prizes, live music, and sign up to win a maple tree planted by Sundown Gardens. The Spring Open House at Sundown Gardens, Saturday, May 21st. They'll have fresh cut flowers from local growers, too. Sundown Gardens, find them on Facebook and Instagram or sundown.gardens.com. Plan to come see them at their Spring Open House Saturday, May 21st at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
Hey, it's Jake Query. Wendy's has one kind of breakfast, a better one. Start your day with a Wendy's sausage, gravy, and biscuit. We're talking savory grilled breakfast sausage and a creamy Southern-style black pepper gravy served on top of a warm, freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's.
18 days to go on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Kevin, month of May, you know what that means? It means we start talking to guys that are going to be driving really fast, right?
I can't wait.
It is the best time of year, no question about it. And the Indianapolis 500 field, we now know prospectively, assuming that everybody is clean and green, will be at 33. That's because Stefan Wilson has been announced with Cusick Motorsports and Dragon Speed. He will be now car 33. That doesn't mean he qualifies 33rd. He's just the last one. And he joins us now on the Payless Liquors guest line. Stefan, first off, congratulations, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's great to be back and to be confirmed for the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500.
So let me ask you this. Listen, I think we all knew it was like the worst kept secret in motorsports, right? Everyone knew this was probably inevitable, but yet I'm assuming especially for you, I mean, I would imagine that you never count anything until the ink is dry. How kind of gut-wrenching was this entire process of putting this deal together?
Exactly. You nailed it right there. Even up to the last minute, I was still not sure that it was really going to happen, I worked so hard for pretty much a full year, pretty much started on this right after the last Indy 500 in 2021. It was, okay, Don, Cusick Motorsports, we want to come back and do this again. And how do we do that? And it was a long road, a lot of ups and downs. At the same time, as much as I worked really hard on this, I knew there was 7 or 8 other drivers out there and partners all working really hard as well. So inevitably someone's going to be disappointed. And I sympathize a lot because I know how much I put into this and how gut-wrenching it would have been to miss out. So, I definitely sympathize with the drivers that didn't get to get that deal together. We were kind of working right until the last minute to get it done. So a lot of moving parts, and all it takes is for one of those moving parts not to quite work, and the whole deal falls apart.
Steph, I'm curious, if there had been, I don't know, maybe an extra couple cars in the field, and all of a sudden you would have been joining a field of 35 or 36, and that means there is some bumping involved. Do you think that would have changed, the mindset of wanting this entry to be in the field at all?
No, I don't think so. The goal was always to come back. And we were, back in January, they were talking like 36, 37, 38 cars. Everyone has these numbers out there. And I think if it was maybe more, if it was maybe more affordable, if there was more engine manufacturers, if there was more cars, then you might see those numbers return to that kind of level. But for me, it wasn't a deterrent to have to qualify and bump my way in. So it was not. That wasn't something that I was like, oh, there's only going to be 33, then I'm in. But it's because right now, who knows? There could be a 34th that just randomly turns up, and we have to work really hard to make the show.
Stefan Wilson is our guest on the Payless Liquors hotline. Stefan, I had written kind of a little bio about you on our website, and in it I said, it's kind of a cruel irony that a year ago you come in for a pit stop and you about put your foot through the floorboard trying to pump your brakes and it's not stopping and the car's still going. And there was an irony in that because that was the antithesis of your career, because seemingly every time that you get something going, something inadvertently comes in to make you stop. And yet you've always bounced back. Did you think that this was not going to be a possibility, or has the resiliency that you've had to show in the past in getting rides carry you through to this point?
That is a great question, Jake. Yeah, no, last year was hugely disappointing. We actually had a really good car last year. We were quick in practice, super fast in Fast Friday, and then the days that really counted, which was qualifying and race day, we kind of just didn't meet our expectations, and we didn't, fully execute to the level we needed to show that potential. Race day, the car was handling amazing. We were moving up the field. I was running right behind Simon. I was quicker than Simon. Feel like I could have made a pass there. And he ended up finishing third or fourth in the race. So it was like, that was the potential we had, and it got dashed. It got cut short on the first pit stop. Essentially, my foot went through the fall, like you said. The front master cylinder stuck, and it wouldn't allow the front brakes to operate correctly. So that was the end of that. But yeah, when I think about it, the resiliency that I've shown, to just keep getting up off the mat and just keep coming back. I don't know if it's resiliency or just insanity. A lot of the time over the winter, we were just kind of beating our head against the wall. How do we make this happen? How do we solve this equation? And I just couldn't come up with the answer to the equation at all. And a couple of times I did question myself. I'm like, is this insanity? Am I just keep repeating myself, and keep trying to do this? And a lot of people gave up and thought that, okay, it's not going to happen. And I kind of quietly just kept working on it. And I'm glad I did, because it allowed us to be part of the big show, and at the same time enabled the series to continue the tradition and maintain 33 cars.
You lived in Indianapolis. You now live in Denver. Is your wife from Indianapolis?
She is.
Okay.
She's from Kokomo, Indiana.
So now, for what reason did you leave? And, we're trying not to hold it against you that you're no longer a Hoosier here, but I'm assuming it's because
Jake's saying, is Denver better than Kokomo? Is that what you're saying here?
That's right. Listen, it is sunny 300 and however many days a year there.
Wildcats with a K up there in Kokomo.
Steph, I assume it's because that Denver is where your late brother Justin lived, and so therefore your nieces are there and your sister-in-law. Is that a safe assumption that that's how you ended up in Denver?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I lived in Indianapolis for 7 years, from 2010 to 2017. I absolutely loved my time there. That's where I met my wife, and we lived there pretty close to downtown for many years. So when Justin passed away, he was based out here in Colorado. His family decided to stay in Colorado, and I always felt like he was always there for me growing up, and I wanted to be just a little closer and try and be there for them and his girls, his nieces, and my nieces.
Well, the reason I ask it is the following. Stefan Wilson is our guest. Look, I was thinking about this today, actually, Stefan. I was like, I loved Justin Wilson, and then I thought, well, I don't know that I loved your brother. I still do. Just because he's not here doesn't mean that I don't still have just the highest of respect for him. He just represented everything that's good in sport, and you know that. And you have so admirably followed in that footstep. So the question I have is the following, and that is, you want to honor your brother and you want to always remember your brother, but at the same time, at some point, I would think as a race car driver, you also would like to be Steph Wilson and not always be Steph Wilson, who is there because he's Justin Wilson's brother. Has that been a difficult emotional thing to balance?
Not particularly, no. Like I at times it was, I guess, and every time he's on my mind all the time, and I said this earlier in an interview this week, and I really thought about it, and I was like, if competing at the Indy 500 was just solely about me and my ego and my ambition to race in this race, then the adversity, the knocks that I've had over the years, I think it would have been much easier for me to give up. And I think about Justin's career, and I think all of this stuff, all of the race wins, all of his achievements, and I remember conversations with him, and it was when he decided to, pursue the Andretti ride in 2015, it was because he wanted to win the Indy 500. And that was the last sort of thing on his racing resume, bucket list, whatever you want to call it, that he wanted to check, was to win the Indy 500. And that is what drives me, is because I want to achieve that for him as much as I want to achieve it for myself. So I'm very comfortable with that this is something I want to achieve for both of us and, for the Wilson family. And there's no sort of ego there that's like, I've got to set myself apart from him, because I feel like I've already done that to a point. I've already sort of wrote my own chapter, and I'm trying to, finish it off strong.
Steph, I believe this will be the fourth running of the Indianapolis 500 for you, and all of those being after Justin's passing. Emotions on race day, I feel like from a driver, fan, everybody inside of that 2.5 mile oval, it's, kind of second to none. For you, it's got to be at a totally different level. Is there a particular moment on race day where it really hits you, about Justin and I don't know, driver introductions or going around on the, laps before the race starts and looking up in the crowd? Is there a particular moment when it really hits you?
It's actually the most, it's a really weird sensation. You've got so much stress early on in the day. There's so much media that you have to take care of, media obligations, PR obligations, and then that sort of schedule clears, and then you get about an hour and a half, 2 hours of just like, there's nothing on your schedule, nothing on your calendar, and you get to just kind of think about the race that's coming up ahead. And then it's a really calming sensation, actually, because it's just like, all the stresses are gone, and you can just focus on the moment that's ahead of you, the 500 miles that lie in front of you. And then you walk out for the driver introduction, and that is an incredible feeling in itself. And then you put that helmet on, you slide into the car, and everything else is just tuned out. And it is the most focused that you could ever imagine being in your life. It's really, really quite something to be that in the moment.
Hey, man, you were leading with, I don't have to remind you this, in 2018, Stefan Wilson's leading the race with 5 laps to go.
I remember that, man.
How much were you praying for a caution, and did you have enough fuel to finish under caution?
Yes. Yeah, no, I took the lead, and that was just the most incredible moment of probably my life up to now. And, you know, you when you take the lead at Indy that late in the race, it has like the track has this kind of like worn feeling about it. Like, you know, it's not early in the race just from the way it looks. Like there's, you know, the marbles, you know, the bits of trash. The crowd is packed, and you know, they're on the edge of all standing on the edge of the edge of the seat, and that's when you know, like, you know, you're so close to the finish, and you know that one caution is going to essentially cement that lifelong dream of winning the Indy 500. So yeah, that was an amazing feeling. It didn't happen. And it's something that I'm striving to get back to that point. You know, I hope it'd be amazing if it's this year, but I think what we have now with Cusick Motorsports and Dragon Speed partnering together is we have the ability to control our own fate in the future and to really grow this program and come back for, you know, several more attempts.
Your brother was the 200th driver to lead the Indianapolis 500. You led it in 2018. That makes the Wilsons one of just 4 brother combinations to have both led the Indy 500. The other 3 combinations have at least one brother who has won the race. So no pressure, Steph. No pressure at all to make that 4 for 4. But listen, man, you've got a lot of people I know that are pulling for you and have always pulled for you for a variety of reasons. But I was thrilled to see it come together and appreciate the time this morning. Look forward to seeing you out there. We wish you the best of luck, all right?
Good luck, Steph.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jake. I love all the stats you bring up, and you were actually the first person to tell me that we were the 4th brother combination and who the other 3 brothers were. And that's actually the first time that it's been mentioned like that, where one of the other 3 brother pairings have won the race. So that's the first time I've actually thought about that stat, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I got some work to do.
Hey, Jake being Jake right there for you,
Steph. That's right. Thanks, Steph.
Thank you, guys.
I feel bad, Kevin. I put the pressure on, man.
Oh, you tell you what, I mean, I think he embraces a little bit of that is the goal. You know, you think 33rd entry, Jake, and I think to myself, man, you're just trying to complete 200 laps, things like that, but you forgot how close he was just a few years ago.
I mean, stranger things, you know, but he did say in the outset there, listen, you know, we're realistic of the challenge ahead. This is just the starting point, and then trying to build from that and get some permanent sponsorship, so you can keep coming back and build on it. But a really, really, really good guy.
Awesome story.
By the way, 107.5 The Fan. I've got the blogs to get to know each and every driver. I'll do another one today.
Any hints?
I haven't decided yet.
Trackside at 7, Beyond
Shocking.
the Bricks at 8. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Michael Shank joins us tomorrow.
The Ride with